Chapter 195. In the distant sky, everybody looked up, only to see that the fishing rod in Wenren Yu's hand was constricting at an unbelievable speed. Dozens of seconds later, a black spot appeared. When they got closer, they saw a red arachnida crab flying over. To be exact, it had been hooked back. Wenren Yu was still indifferent. The fishing hook needs to be part of your body, like your hands, fingers, or even eyes. Only in this way can you be a qualified dangling fisher. Swordgrass appeared before Wenren Yu and slashed at the red spider crab the moment it approached. In the next moment, the spider crab was cut into halves mercilessly, and a cluster of red threads was hooked back. Wenren Yu looked at Han Fei. Your fishing rod is made of blood spider silk. Connect it. While everybody looked at her admiringly, Wenren Yu jumped to her boat calmly and said to everybody, your trial is not over yet, but your main task is to improve your fishing skills. If you find another treasure trove, unless you think you can pass it, let the giant arowana roar and inform me. In the end, Wenren Yu looked at everybody. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Your fishing skills have nothing to do with how far you can cast the hook, but with your reflexes and fishing skills. Let's start with the easy ones. Wenren Yu left. There was no telling where she went, but everybody knew that she was nearby. Luo Xiaobai said, cast as far as possible first. Everybody else cast their rods, and Han Fei caught the fishing line absent-mindedly. He seemed to know Wenren Yu's fishing skills. For example, in the process of moving, he could instantly hook the target. Wasn't that his hook kiss or flash hook? Just now, Wenren Yu's technique was similar to the winding snake technique, but it was much more sophisticated than hers. As for how to catch the prey without alerting anyone, the water vane technique seemed to be perfect. When the hook melted into water, it could catch the prey when they least expected it. The only thing that made Han Fei helpless was Wenren Yu's speed, which was too fast. How could she cast the hook 1,000 kilometers away in the blink of an eye? Was it some sort of mysterious fishing skill? Suddenly, Han Fei's eyes glittered. Was it a hook technique from the 4th level of void fishing? Han Fei wasn't sure, but he had reason to be suspicious. As he improved his void fishing, his fishing skills were getting better and better. Suddenly, a voice sounded in Han Fei's head. Lu Renquang secretly said, you almost scared me to death just now. If you die, I'll feel guilty. Han Fei replied telepathically, don't curse me. Even if you die, I won't. Then, Xia Shaochan asked telepathically, what about the spiritual energy inside? Just now, after teacher broke the door, I didn't see any spirit energy. Han Fei replied, he was swallowed by the skeleton. Didn't you see that he grew from a handsome young man to a middle-aged man? Xia Shaochan was stunned. Is that even possible? But where could such a large pool of spiritual qi go? Han Fei took it. Impossible. Even if the sea-swallowing seashells were filled, they wouldn't be able to hold much. Zhang Xuanyu asked via voice transmission, Fei, have you mastered the million knife art? I just saw your blade control technique. It seems to be a bit of trash, but it can actually kill that guy. What kind of saber is that? Han Fei was lost for words. Nagging all day long. That's just an ordinary knife. Zhang Xuanyu obviously didn't believe it. Only Luo Xiaobai didn't talk to Han Fei. The others couldn't hold it in anymore. They kept asking, and Han Fei finally stopped talking to them through voice transmission. Han Fei looked at everyone gloomily. Instead of speaking telepathically, he simply said, fishing, stop chattering. You can talk to me when you're as good at fishing as I am. Xia Shaochan asked, how good are your fishing skills? Zhang Xuanyu nodded. Yes. Why don't you catch a spider crab too? Lu Renquang nodded. I'm not bragging. Why don't you try? Han Fei pulled the connected fishing line and snorted. Watch me. Let me show you how I can cross 1,000 meters in the blink of an eye. Han Fei blushed. Yes, Wenren Yu could cross 1,000 kilometers in the blink of an eye, but he couldn't. Swish! The fishing hook was thrown out and fell into the water in everyone's sight. Han Fei's hands shook rhythmically as if he had a card up his sleeve. Zhang Xuanyu asked, Fei Fei, can you do it? You're not as strong as teacher. Han Fei said, don't talk. In the water, Han Fei could clearly sense the creatures within 5 meters of the fishing hook. He couldn't see any further. Suddenly, Han Fei smiled. Let me catch a treasure-digging fish for you. Lu Renkuang said, no, let's not brag. Han Fei scoffed. Are you kidding me? Watch carefully. In the water, the fishing hook and fishing line seemed to turn into seawater. In an instant, Flash Hook was activated and a wandering treasure-digging fish was hooked. Retrieve. Han Fei withdrew the fishing hook. In 2 seconds, the fishing hook broke out of the water, and a treasure-digging fish was hanging on it. Hiss! Everyone, including Luo Xiaobai, was dumbfounded. Is this for real? Was it luck or strength? Xia Xiaochan's eyes widened. How did you do it? Lu Renkuang said, I don't think so. Why don't you try catching another one? Han Fei's face darkened. Do you think I can conjure fish out of thin air? There happened to be a treasure-digging fish down there, so I caught it. Lu Renkuang asked, then how did you know there was a treasure-digging fish down there? Can you also have a second vision like Zhang Xuanyu? Han Fei said, infuse your spiritual power into the fishing rod and feel it. You just need to feel the scene within a few meters of the fishing hook. Zhang Xuanyu was shocked. So it's a second vision? No, I have to attach myself to the fish to have a second vision. You're telling me that you attach yourself to the fishing hook? Luo Xiaobai asked, how do you infuse your spiritual power into the fishing rod? Luo Xiaobai trusted Han Fei. After all, no matter how strong Wenren Yu was, if she couldn't see underwater, how could she know what she was fishing for? Even Wenren Yu herself was very surprised at this moment. Did Han Fei learn it so quickly? Was it possible? Her reaction was similar to Lu Renkuang's. When she first learned this kind of perception, it took her more than half a year, almost a year. But Han Fei succeeded on his first try. Xia Xiaochan asked, is that so? Xia Xiaochan seemed to have understood something. She cast the hook and used a completely different method from Han Fei. However, the fishing line was indeed sliding quickly. After a while, a yellow-bone fish was caught. As soon as the yellow-bone fish came up, it shot a mouthful of golden air at Xia Xiaochan, but she cut it with a knife. Xia Xiaochan said, no. I can only see the size of a palm at most. How can I see a few meters? In the distance, Wenren Yu staggered. Are these two people demons? Spiritual vision was completely different from real vision. It was a kind of detection and perception. But these two succeeded on their first try. Of course, except for Han Fei and Xia Xiaochan, the other 3 people including Luo Xiaobai were all dumbfounded. Lu Renkuang asked, well, isn't the spiritual power in your head? How can it go to the fishing hook? Xia Xiaochan said, it's just to concentrate and release it as spiritual energy. Zhang Xuanyu asked, is it so simple? Let me try. After a while, Zhang Xuanyu pulled the fishing rod back and forth, looking confused. Wait. My spiritual power can leave my body. Why can't I see it? Luo Xiaobai was also trying. I can't see it either. Lu Renkuang said, spiritual power is such a mysterious thing that he still doesn't know how to use it. Not to mention transmitting it to the fishing hook. Han Fei said quietly, try it a few more times. Just as Xia Xiaochan said, throw them out like spiritual energy. Chapter 196. While fishing, Han Fei and the others drove the fishing boat back to the level 2 fishery. The level 2 fishery was very large, and there were many commendable weird places in it. Han Fei and the others spent 7 days circling the level 2 fishery while recording the places that others didn't want to go to. Zhang Xuanyu wrote with a fish skin notebook, This is a coral reef with an average depth of 98 meters. It's said that there's a special fish here called the moon-watching eel. Because the water is shallow, there's plenty of light. These moon-watching eels can swallow the essence of the moon, but they're not kind. It's said that they're highly poisonous. Han Fei remembered the complete collection of spiritual plants in the infinite ocean. Moon-watching eels swallow the essence of the moon to gather poison. Moon spirit fruits are often found in their nests, which are not only non-toxic but also detoxifying, so they're often used to make the best detoxifying pills. If taken directly, the effect will be greatly reduced, but it can also increase the body's resistance to poison. Xia Shaochan asked curiously, "Are there any treasures?" Zhang Xuanyu looked at the fish skin notebook solemnly. "I don't know. I only know that the moon-watching eels are aggressive and territorial, but they don't seem to pose any threat to us." Han Fei said, "Let's learn more about the moon spirit fruit. It can resist Little White's paralyzing venom." Xia Xiaochan's eyes glittered. "Then let's fish. It doesn't feel good to be poisoned." Xia Xiaochan recalled the poisoning incident in the Blue Sea Arena. At that time, her face turned purple and ugly. Luo Xiaobai frowned. "Moon spirit fruit? Where did you hear that?" Han Fei shrugged. "You don't know anything about it. You can find it in the Encyclopedia of Spiritual Plants." Lu Rinquang immediately exclaimed, "I've read that book. It's too much information for me to read." "You've read it all?" Gloating, Han Fei thought to himself, "You'll be scared to death if I tell you. I've memorized it in a day." Zhang Xuanyu, however, said uninterestedly, "It doesn't sound special. Fruits that can increase poison immunity can be bought." Xia Shaochan glared at him. "Is it free?" Luo Xiaobai nodded. "Let's try fishing." Everyone began to cast hooks. After 7 days, except for Han Fei and Xia Shaochan, only Zhang Xuanyu had touched the threshold. Luo Xiaobai and Lu Rinquang were still indifferent. In a fresh and refined way, it was a blind bait. Han Fei was the only one who could see where the fish hook passed without any obstruction. As he retracted his rod, he caught an abalone the size of a washbasin. Xia Shaochan and Luo Xiaobai stepped back in disgust. Lu Rinquang asked, "Huh? Is this an ear fish? How rare." However, it was said that it did not have much combat power and was only relatively rare. Because it's too ugly, it's said that even fish don't eat it. Xia Shaochan said in disdain, "It's so ugly." "I thought you caught a moon-watching eel. What do you know? This thing is very precious. I've never seen it before. I didn't expect to see it here. Let's start with meat today. I'll make an abalone feast for you." Zhang Xuanyu was puzzled. "What banquet?" "The abalone banquet is delicious and unparalleled." Lu Rinquang immediately leaned close. "Better than barbecue?" Han Fei smiled mysteriously. "That depends on my cooking skills." Lu Rinquang rubbed his hands happily. "I believe you." "Ha ha ha, I haven't eaten an ear fish yet. I'm going to try it today." Xia Shaochan said in disgust, "I don't want it. It's ugly." Luo Xiaobai said, Forget it." Zhang Xuanyu scoffed. "You're just a bunch of people who don't take your training seriously. Look at me, I guarantee that you'll be able to perceive spiritual vision in 10 days. Half an hour later. The fishing boat was fragrant and the pieces of abalone were steaming in the pot. Han Fei and Lu Rinquang sat in front of the big pot and smacked their lips. Han Fei asked, "Are you really not going to eat it?" Xia Shaochan, Zhang Xuanyu, and Luo Xiaobai all swallowed. "Can such an ugly thing be so fragrant?" Xia Shaochan even wiped her saliva. Lu Rinquang didn't mind at all. I'll eat it, the fat man picked up a piece of abalone and stuffed it into his mouth. The fat on his face trembled with the hot abalone that had just been taken out of the pot. That look of enjoyment on his face, if one didn't know better, they would think that he was floating. "Delicious," Lu Rinquang shouted, his eyes glowing and his mouth oily. The others were all drooling. Zhang Xuanyu withdrew his fishing rod and said solemnly, "I don't think we're in a hurry to fish. Let me try it too." Xia Xiaochan sat in front of the pot. "What's ugly? If it's cooked, you can't tell what it is at all. Anyway, I'll just eat it." Luo Xiaobai struggled for a while. "Since everyone has eaten it, let's eat it." What to eat? Wasn't it all about eating? Then. Xia Xiaochan smiled. "It's delicious. Han Fei, let's eat it again tonight." Zhang Xuanyu agreed. "Those people only care about Xiu. I despise people who don't know how to live." Lu Renkuang said anxiously, "Hey, don't take it. It's mine, it's mine." Luo Xiaobai's eyes flickered and she looked at Han Fei in a daze. Where did this guy learn his culinary skills? What kind of food could become so delicious in his hands? After a hearty meal, they continued to wander in this area of the coral reefs. Their purpose was not to catch the moon-watching eels but to practice fishing skills. At least, the fishing skills attached to Han Fei's void fishing art were far better than others. Lian Gong. Fa fishing skills. The only pity was that each time he cast the hook, he could only cast it down a kilometer at most. Han Fei was quite surprised that Xia Xiaochan could perceive the spiritual vision for the first time. Fa was definitely not ordinary. However, did the Heavenly Water Town have such a technique? Fa? Han Fei didn't think so. If there was, it would definitely not be unknown. Besides, he had never seen two spiritual beasts in his life. Then, Xia Xiaochan's origin was worth considering. And Zhang Xuanyu, it was said that he came from another town. His Fa was obviously not the most ordinary true spirit fishing art. Then this was also a fated chance. Besides, he could leave his body with his spirit, which Han Fei couldn't do anyway. As for Luo Xiaobai, she had always been mysterious. As for Lu Renkuang, although he was a foodie, his crazy heritage explained everything. Now it seemed that none of his teammates seemed to be ordinary. The point was that he happened to meet them. Was it a coincidence or luck? The seventh day. It was evening, the sun was half setting, and the sky was covered in rosy clouds. On the fishing boat, the 5 people were fishing very seriously. Suddenly, Zhang Xuanyu shouted in a low voice, "I see it." As Zhang Xuanyu's hand shook, he picked up a singing conch. Everyone looked at the source of the sound, only to see Zhang Xuanyu grinning from ear to ear. "I see it. I knew I would succeed in 10 days. Xia Xiaochan was curious. "How far can you see?" "Ah. Less than half a foot." Xia Xiaochan let out a sigh of relief. "Keep working hard. I can already see half a meter." Zhang Xuanyu, Luo Xiaobai and Lu Renkuang. Lu Renkuang was anxious and ran to Han Fei. "Can you teach me? Why can't I see? I've been working very hard." Han Fei stretched out his hand and pinched Lu Renkuang's belly. The latter quickly took a step back. "Why did you pinch me?" Han Fei said, "I pinched you and you felt pain. This is called a nerve reflex. In other words, it's called spiritual perception. If you don't have spiritual power, you may not even feel this pain. Just treat the fish hook as your own flesh and try it." Lu Renkuang was stunned. Treat the fishing line and the fish hook as flesh? Han Fei started to talk nonsense. He didn't know if he was right or not, but he felt that it was quite right. Touch comes from the heart. Wherever the heart thinks, there will be a response. Han Fei put on an unfathomable look and pretended to be a pretentious guy. However, as soon as he said that, Xia Xiaochan said in his mind, "So, you actually don't know what's going on, do you?" Han Fei replied, "This kind of thing can only be understood, not explained. What if a few words of advice are useful?" Lu Renkuang scratched his head and went back to think. Luo Xiaobai was also deep in thought. At night, there were 3 moons in the sky. Since he learned the water vein technique, Han Fei no longer had to worry about other fish disturbing him. Suddenly, Han Fei's eyes lit up. The moon-watching eel. Chapter 197. This was an unexpected surprise. The group had been fishing in the coral reefs for 7 to 8 days, but they hadn't seen a single moon-gazing eel. In the end, they ran into each other. It was a gigantic eel. Its head was more than a meter long, and its body was thicker than Lu Renkuang's thigh. As it breathed in and out, the water rippled. In the next moment, a water ripple entered the moon-gazing eel's mouth. Rise! Xiaobai, help tie him up. Everyone saw Han Fei suddenly roar. Before he realized what was going on, a big fish nearly 6 or 7 meters long was swung to the surface of the sea. Zhang Xuanyu exclaimed, moon-gazing eel. Suddenly, dozens of vines darted out of the water and wrapped around the moon-watching eel. But in the next moment, all the vines began to change color and wither. Luo Xiaobai wasn't afraid. She broke free and swept up the vines again. At the same time, a paralyzing poison seeped out of the vines. For a moment, the moon-watching eel became a huge source of poison. Zhang Xuanyu shouted, cut off its head. Let's not eat the meat. There's a full moon pearl in its head, which can help with Xiu. The pearls used to cultivate eye techniques are priceless. Han Fei was not interested in the bead. What he was interested in was the spiritual fruit. Poison was terrifying, but it had little to do with your physical strength. Xia Shaochan was paralyzed by Su Yebai's poison. However, Han Fei still obeyed Zhang Xuanyu's words and threw out 2 daggers, one at the head of the moon-watching eel and the other at the top of its head. In the blink of an eye, the moon-watching eel was killed, and a huang fell to the ground. Se's bead was caught by the vine and sent back. Plop! The moon-gazing eel's corpse fell into the sea. Han Fei said, I'm going down to pick the moon spirit fruits. As soon as Han Fei jumped into the sea, dozens of knives appeared around him and minced the strip fish and yellow-boned fish around him in the blink of an eye. Han Fei's purpose was clear, which was to dig out the moon-watching eel's hole. This kind of marine creature that didn't live in groups wouldn't have anything else in the cave. Blackie, bring the fruit out for me. A few minutes later, Han Fei broke out of the water, holding a fist-sized yellow in his hand. Say fruit. Xia Shaochan asked, just one. Han Fei was amused. Maybe there's only one moon-watching eel. Han Fei waved the knife in his hand and the fruit was divided into 5 portions. Let's share it. It wasn't anything particularly good. However, if I were to encounter a poison expert, I might be able to resist a little. Everyone was very straightforward. He took it and stuffed it into his mouth. Luo Xiaobai handed the moon-watching pearl to Han Fei. But, this kind of person. Eye techniques were useless to Han Fei. He asked casually, who wants a Xiu? Was he here to cultivate ocular techniques? I don't need it. Lu Renkuang asked, huh? Don't all spirit gatherers need Xiu? Cultivating ocular techniques? I've already mastered it, and I don't fight with my eyes. This thing is useless to me. Everyone shook their heads. There was no one here. He was practicing ocular techniques. Luo Xiaobai said, you can sell it in the Linglong Tower or exchange it for something you need. Keep it. Things that were not considered treasures to the crowd were not like that outside. For those who needed it, especially those who needed Xiu. For someone who cultivated eye techniques, this lunar gazing pearl was priceless. For Han Fei, this was just a small interlude. While fishing, he also looked for fantasy creatures. There were already 3 big shots in the demon purification pot, and he wanted to find 1 or 2 more. Would he be able to fuse a spiritual beast stronger than the 9-tailed mantis shrimp? Another half a month passed in a flash. When Han Fei encountered a fantasy creature, he asked the others to catch it together. But this time, that thing actually knew how to dig a hole, and it managed to slip away. However, in the past half a month, they had basically fished all the creatures in the level 2 fishery. They caught a lot of rare creatures and fed them all to Little Black and the nine-tailed mantis shrimp. During this period, they also met a lot of people in the level 2 fishery, some of whom knew Han Fei and the others, and some intended to rob them. But seeing that there were 5 people on a fishing boat, most people gave up the idea. A team of 3 people, seeing that Han Fei and the others were still young, clamored to rob them. However, before Han Fei could do anything, the others all said they wanted to try their contractual spiritual beasts. Almost in the blink of an eye, the 3 of them collapsed and their contractual spiritual beasts were all killed. If Luo Xiaobai hadn't said that they were just refining weapons and not killing people, the 3 of them would have become fish dung. On this day, it had been nearly a month since Han Fei and the others arrived in the level 2 fishery. Luo Xiaobai and Lu Renquang still hadn't comprehended spiritual vision, which at least proved that not everyone was talented in this ability. Zhang Xuanyu did it because of his strong spiritual power, which was related to the bloodthirsty shark he awakened. Zhang Xuanyu nodded. Well, I have a general understanding of the level 2 fishery in the Blue Sea town. This month, a total of 38 dangerous places have been circled. Among them, there were 21 that everyone knew about and had explored. The remaining 17 places are slightly more dangerous. Do you want to go? Lu Renquang nodded. Yes, I don't want to fish anymore. I can't catch anything without bait. Up to now, my spiritual power can only shake the hook a few times, let alone spiritual vision. Han Fei nodded. I have no objection. But Zhang Xuanyu, can you narrow down the range a little more? How long do we have to run for 17 places? Zhang Xuanyu smiled. I knew you would say that. I divided 13 of these 17 places into relatively less dangerous places. People have tried to explore the other 4 places, but they all died. Xia Xiaochan asked, where? Zhang Xuanyu stared at the fish skin notebook and said, the piercing electricity zone, with a large number of piercing electricity jellyfish. The stone forest is said to be inhabited by stone spirit crabs that live in the stones, and the stone spirit crabs will store spiritual energy in their nests. Therefore, the stones there are very suitable for forging weapons. Some people have risked mining there, but few have survived. Zhang Xuanyu continued while flipping through the fish skin notebook. The other 2 are more famous. One is the deep sea jungle, which is covered with countless vegetation. Many times, they are entangled by the vegetation on the seabed before they can dive deep. It is said that a dangling fisher once went in and didn't come out. The other is even more dangerous, called the Fiery Mountain. According to the records, even great fishing masters will die if they go there. So far, no great fishing master has come back alive from there. Han Fei was shocked. The Fiery Mountain? Luo Xiaobai said, it's a gathering place of fiery corals. It's said to be a kind of weird coral. Han Fei took a long breath in relief when he heard that it was a kind of coral. He thought that he had arrived at the Bull Demon King's hometown. Xia Xiaochan asked, so, which of these 4 places is the least dangerous? Zhang Xuanyu closed the fish skin notebook. The piercing electricity zone. This place has the highest chance of coming back alive. Lu Renquang said, don't compare us with ordinary great fishing masters. Do you think we can do it? If we can't, let's not go to these 4 places. Let's go to the other 13 places. Zhang Xuanyu said, I think the piercing electricity zone is worth a try. Han Fei thought it was worth a try. Then let's go to the piercing electricity zone. Only dangerous places have treasures. The other places have been explored by others. We can only pick up the leftovers. If we want to go, let's go where others dare not go. Xia Xiaochan chuckled. Han Fei, you've forgotten the pain now that you've recovered, haven't you? Lu Renquang rolled his eyes quickly. Why don't we go to the other 13 places? Zhang Xuanyu snorted. The other places are boring. Indeed, some people have already explored them. Although there may still be some spiritual fruits, for us now, the effect of an ordinary spiritual fruit is not as good as before. Luo Xiaobai shook her head slightly. Spiritual fruits are still very important. With spiritual fruits, the success rate can be increased by at least 20%. Han Fei had an idea. Let's vote by a show of hands. Those who think we can explore the piercing electricity zone, raise your hand. Swish. Swish. Swish, except for Luo Xiaobai and Lu Renquang, the other three raised their hands. Han Fei said with a smile, 3-2. The path of cultivation is against the law of nature. The level 2 fishery can't even withstand the wind and waves. When we reach the level 3 fishery, we won't dare to go anywhere, right? With that, Han Fei and Zhang Xuanyu raised their hands and even clapped, as if they appreciated each other. Lu Renquang rolled his eyes. Wait, have you forgotten what happened in the Fire Cloud Cave? Xia Shaochan said proudly, ordinary fishermen are not afraid of death. We go to sea every day. What are we afraid of? Let's go. Zhang Xuanyu shouted, let's go. Han Fei shouted, let's go. Chapter 198. The piercing electricity jellyfish was not a rare jellyfish in the level 2 fishery, but because the jellyfish community was too large, there were always a few mutant, rare, and even exotic jellyfish. In ancient times, there were even legendary piercing electricity jellyfish. In the ocean, jellyfish were like umbrellas and mushrooms. Especially the piercing electricity jellyfish, this kind of jellyfish could generate electricity. However, some people said that the piercing electricity jellyfish were cute and playful. When Han Fei arrived at the piercing electricity zone, he could always see a few dead piercing electricity jellyfish floating on the surface of the sea. Even though they were dead, their blue hats were still very beautiful. Lu Renquang swallowed. Should we go straight down? Zhang Xuanyu shook his head. Don't rush. This is just the edge area. Let's go down to the central area. Lu Renquang was lost for words. I'm told that the jellyfish groups are huge, with thousands or even more. Zhang Xuanyu said casually, what are you afraid of? Your 1,000-blade tortoise can crush them in minutes. Xiao Bai's vines can also easily protect us. Xia Shaochan can also flash. It's me and Han Fei who have to worry about melee combat, okay? Han Fei clicked his tongue and said, don't worry about me. I can control water. Zhang Xuanyu, everybody discussed and went straight into the water. As soon as they entered the water, they felt that something was wrong. In other places, they could basically see fish as long as they entered the water. However, there were very few fish here. After diving more than 10 meters, they saw a bone-piercing fish swimming past them unhurriedly. Also, it didn't mean to attack them. The 5 of them stared at the fish like fools, watching it come and leave. Luo Xiaobai said, be careful, everybody. It's not a dangerous place. Slow down. Everybody nodded. After diving for about 50 meters, they saw a piercing electricity jellyfish with a blue hat and white stripes floating slowly in the water. There were only a few of them 10 meters up and down, so nobody was scared. Everybody deliberately surrounded it. After all, they had never been to the level 2 fishery and had never seen a piercing electricity jellyfish in the ocean. A string of data flashed in Han Fei's eyes. Piercing electricity jellyfish 25 common 250 points long-term consumption can increase one's resistance to electricity. Han Fei remained calm, and Zhang Xuanyu leaned 2 meters away to take a closer look. In the end, the piercing electricity jellyfish seemed to notice something coming and automatically floated over. The small umbrella opened and closed, dragging a long tail behind it. It was very beautiful. Under everyone's gaze, the piercing electricity jellyfish slowly turned around, showing no intention to attack. It even wanted to rub its head against Zhang Xuanyu. It's so cute. Can I touch it? Luo Xiaobai said, don't. Before Luo Xiaobai finished, when Xia Shaochan's hand touched the piercing electricity jellyfish, an electric current hit Xia Shaochan with a crack, making her tremble all over with an explosive sound. Xia Shaochan quickly stepped back. As a result, the piercing electricity jellyfish rubbed its cute head against where Xia Shaochan had just been. Finding that he missed her, electric currents flashed in his small eyes, and he chased after Xia Shaochan. Xia Shaochan was shocked. "Go away, you electrifying monster." Everybody saw that Xia Shaochan was hiding, and the piercing electricity jellyfish chased her unhurriedly. Now and then, electric currents emanated from its body, as if it were playing circles with Xia Shaochan. Han Fei was deep in thought. Jellyfish had eyes, or rather, they were not real eyes. They were primitive visual organs called dot eyes. Similar to the compound eyes of insects, they did not have a focal point, but they could sense the changes of light and shadow. However, the piercing electricity jellyfish before him was different from the jellyfish that Han Fei saw in the level 1 fishery. This piercing electricity jellyfish had evolved to have eyes, and it had evolved to have 4 eyes. Han Fei said telepathically, "Be careful. The piercing electricity jellyfish have eyes. They can find us with their sight. Shaochan, kill it." Xia Shaochan was stunned for a moment. "I don't think so. Although it can electrocute people, it's so cute." Han Fei said, "Then why don't you try thousands of piercing electricity jellyfish?" Xia Shaochan shivered. 1 jellyfish was enough for her. Thousands of them? Were they going to electrocute her? Xia Shaochan's dagger flashed, and the piercing electricity jellyfish was cut into pieces and slowly sank. Lu Renkuang was confused. "Huh? They don't seem to attack people actively." Luo Xiaobai said telepathically, "No, they're active. However, the piercing electricity jellyfish are too slow, so it looks like it's playing a game with Xia Shaochan." Xia Shaochan was stunned. "Is that so? I thought that it was just playing a game with me." Everybody continued diving. When they were almost 80 meters deep, they saw a lot of piercing electricity jellyfish. There were hundreds of them at first glance. The deeper they went, the more piercing electricity jellyfish there were. Very soon, everybody's vision was blocked, because the jellyfish's tails were too long. Regular jellyfish could even reach 20 to 30 meters long, and regular piercing electricity jellyfish had tails that were 20 to 30 meters long too. Their tails were floating in the water, seriously blocking everybody's vision. When they tried to pass through the swarm of piercing electricity jellyfish, they immediately realized that something was wrong. Luo Xiaobai's face changed greatly. "Get away from them. All the jellyfish are approaching us." Zhang Xuanyu made up his mind. "Dive down. If we go back, our trip will be in vain." Although the jellyfish were approaching, everybody dived quickly, but the deeper they went, the more shocked they were. There were too many piercing electricity jellyfish, so many that they were practically packed together. Everybody saw that the tails of the jellyfish were almost entangled. An idea occurred to everybody. What if those jellyfish discharged electricity at the same time? Crackle, almost at the same time as everyone's thoughts, the entire body of water exploded in an instant. Electric currents were surging within 100 meters, and Luo Xiaobai only had time to cover everybody with vines. But how could the vines resist the electric currents in the water? In that instant, everyone began to tremble. They were all electrocuted, their bodies trembling. "Woo! Woo! Woo!" Zhang Xuanyu rolled his eyes after being electrocuted. "Shao shao shao! Quang quang quang!" Like Zhang Xuanyu, Lu Renkuang released the 1,000-blade tortoise while he was electrocuted. 1,000 smoke blade slash, shua. 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 Thousands of sabers slashed the piercing electricity jellyfish into pieces. However, the whole water was full of electric currents. Even though the piercing electricity jellyfish were dead, the electric currents didn't disappear immediately. Everybody trembled for a long time, and Zhang Xuanyu finally coughed and vomited blood, followed by Luo Xiaobai. Lu Renkuang was even more exaggerated. His mouth was foaming, and his eyes were rolling. Only Han Fei and Xia Shaochan were fine. Han Fei seemed to be used to being electrocuted. He had been electrocuted by the dragon eel before. The electric currents of such a large group of piercing electricity jellyfish were not even as powerful as one electric shock from the dragon eel. As for Xia Shaochan, she was struck by lightning together with Han Fei on the top of the mountain. Although Han Fei ate most of the lightning, it was very conductive. The fact that Xia Shaochan could withstand it suggested that her physique was extraordinary. At this moment, everybody finally understood why the great fishing masters couldn't make it back alive. Most people would have already fainted from the shock. Lu Renhuang, the fatty, was already foaming at the mouth and rolling his eyes. While shivering, Han Fei performed the divine healing technique. Probably because he was trembling, he couldn't perform the divine healing technique, which made everybody look at him with hidden bitterness. Han Fei said telepathically, "Don't blame me. It's not easy to control the spiritual energy." Outside, the thousand-blade tortoise was a bit dizzy from the electric shock too. The thousand-blade slash's momentum was greatly reduced at this moment. It was barely able to hold on for a minute before everyone slowly recovered. Han Fei immediately cast the divine healing technique on them and said telepathically, "Run. What are you waiting for? Fatty, put away your thousand-blade tortoise and use your own armor, or the thousand-blade tortoise will be electrocuted." Lu Renhuang suggested, "Why don't we go back?" Everybody raised their head and looked up, only to be gloomy. Go back. The piercing electricity jellyfish were everywhere, and their long tentacles were almost touching their faces. Xia Shaochan shouted, "Run!" Chapter 199. Everyone ran with nimble legs. With a swish, they dived down frantically. Lu Renhuang's torrents of knives and swords even caused a whirlpool in the water, and all the weapons in the armor box were taken out, sweeping all the way. All that was left in the water were pieces of the piercing electricity jellyfish. In just a moment, the entire water area was almost covered by the jellyfish fragments, and translucent jelly-like chunks of flesh were everywhere. Luo Xiaobai was like a tentacle monster, sweeping countless vines and clearing the debris and piercing electricity jellyfish along the way. The water in this area was very deep. The group continued to descend, and they could not see the bottom even after 300 meters. 300 meters was nothing for great fishing masters, not even for fishing masters. However, the piercing electricity jellyfish's territory should have a water layer. At this moment, everyone had already reached the bottom of the water. Han Fei said, "Stop. Fatty, stop stirring. The piercing electricity jellyfish are gone." Lu Renhuang put his weapon back. Then, Luo Xiaobai's vines disappeared one after another. Then, everyone saw a miraculous scene. Countless jellyfish that looked like sailboats were floating nearby at some point in time. The moment he saw these jellyfish, a jellyfish that he had seen before, the Portuguese warship jellyfish. How similar! It was just that one was floating on the surface of the sea, while the other was floating under the water. As for the Portuguese battleship jellyfish, it was terrifying. Their tentacles had countless stinging cells, and their venom was not inferior to any venomous snake in the world. More importantly, its tentacles were exceptionally tough. Once entangled, an ordinary person would immediately go into shock. The jellyfish in front of them was even more exaggerated than the Portuguese battleship jellyfish. The tentacles were bottomless, and they were covered with barbs. The data reappeared in his eyes. Name blue-capped jellyfish. Introduction. Blue hat jellyfish carries an underwater air sac that contains poisonous gas. At the moment of the explosion, the poisonous gas would not form bubbles, but would directly melt into the water, so it could not be easily killed. Level 27 quality, rare, contains spiritual energy 640 points. Inedible. Can be harvested from blue-cap jellyfish tentacles, can be used to weave low-level fishing nets. Absorbable. Han Fei raised his eyebrows. This was too much information. Explosion. Rare. Fishing net. There were at least 100 blue hat jellyfish around. The deeper he looked, the more there were. He had never seen so many rare creatures before. Didn't rare creatures always exist alone? However, he didn't have time to think so much at this moment. He immediately transmitted his voice, "Little White, don't let their tentacles entangle us. Fatty, don't stir them. Their air sacs are strange. We'd better keep going down and avoid them." Xia Shaochan said telepathically, "Their tentacles are coming." Luo Xiaobai quickly controlled the vines to block the tentacles, not giving them a chance to approach. Suddenly, Luo Xiaobai exclaimed, "Their tentacles are poisonous." Xia Shaochan's shadowless blade slashed down, only to hear a sizzling sound. Although several tentacles were cut off, everyone's expression changed slightly. What kind of hardness was this? Not good. Suddenly, Lu Renkuang pointed down. "Look." Everyone looked down one after another. It was a net made up of countless tentacles. They were stacked layer by layer, like layers of infrared rays intertwined together. Luo Xiaobai looked solemn. "I think the real danger is here. If the electric current of the piercing electricity jellyfish can kill an ordinary great fishing master, these blue hat jellyfish can easily entangle a person." Lu Renkuang asked, "Do you want me to cut them?" Zhang Xuanyu said, "Try cutting it." Han Fei hurriedly said, "Wait." Everyone looked at Han Fei, who shot a blue sea wandering dragon dagger straight through the umbrella of the blue hat jellyfish. Bam! With a loud explosion, a wave of air rolled and spread out at the bottom of the sea. But to everyone's surprise, after the bubble burst, the gas inside only rose a few meters and then disappeared without a trace. Luo Xiaobai's face changed greatly. "This is a kind of poisonous gas that can dissolve in seawater. We can't strangle them." Xia Shaochan asked, "Do we just let them surround us? Let's kill them. We just ate the moon spirit fruit." Luo Xiaobai added, "Don't forget, we divided the moon spirit fruit into 5 portions." Han Fei thought for a while and took out a few fruits. "Each of you can eat 1 exotic poisonous fruit, but it's much less effective than the moon spirit fruit. I don't know if it can block the poison of the blue hat jellyfish." Xia Shaochan asked, "Is this the spiritual fruit that detoxified me last time?" Han Fei nodded. "This is an exotic poisonous fruit. It can be immune to mortal-level poisons. I don't know about the blue hat jellyfish, but we can't be careless. It's easy to kill them, but once this water area is covered by poison, if we can't resist it, we'll be doomed." Suddenly, Luo Xiaobai said to everyone, "Let me do it. Han Fei, give me spiritual energy." Deep blue, vine explosion. Suddenly, a huge flower appeared under Luo Xiaobai's feet. Tens of thousands of vines drilled into the gaps of the tentacle net from all directions. Han Fei poured spiritual energy into Luo Xiaobai's body crazily. After a while, this water area was almost filled with vines. Han Fei and the others were wrapped in vines and couldn't see anything. Clatter! These countless vines suddenly bloomed from top to bottom, like a bud that suddenly opened its petals, forming an inverted conical channel from top to bottom. Luo Xiaobai's face was pale. "Come on, go down." Xia Shaochan grabbed Luo Xiaobai and quickly went down with the others. Along the way, they saw countless roots of the blue hat jellyfish being torn off. And those vines that formed a circle were changing color at a speed visible to the naked eye, turning dark blue. Luo Xiaobai shouted, "I can't hold it for long. Hurry up." Bam, 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 outside the vines, everyone heard a series of explosions. Did these jellyfish just blow themselves up? Even if they couldn't kill the enemy, they didn't have to blow themselves up, okay? As the explosions around them gradually subsided, everyone secretly breathed a sigh of relief. But just when everyone thought it was okay, Luo Xiaobai's vines were suddenly torn apart. Everyone's eyes lit up, and then in the next second, they all ran wildly. Lu Renkuang said while running, "Little Yu, didn't you say this was the safest place?" "What's that?" Zhang Xuanyu ran even faster than Lu Renkuang. "This is a dangerous place. How can it be safe?" "I'm talking about relative safety." Luo Xiaobai said, "Wait, there's more than one." Yes, everyone saw a super large jellyfish, more than 10 meters long. To be precise, it might be a super large jellyfish close to 20 meters long. More importantly, there was more than one such jellyfish. There were 3 as far as their eyes could see. Han Fei glanced at them and was stunned. Name a soul-attracting jellyfish. Introduction: a soul-gifted creature with powerful soul attack abilities and regenerative abilities. Contains a soul resistance pearl that ignores ordinary soul attacks. Level 31. Quality: exotic. It contains spiritual energy greater than 1936 points. Edible effect: inedible collectible. Soul resistance pearl. On the other side, before Han Fei explained, Zhang Xuanyu had already said, "Come on, find one that's alone. This is my second contractual spiritual beast." Luo Xiaobai said, "We can't dodge the soul attacks of the soul-attracting jellyfish. We can only take them head-on. Let's get out of here first." Xia Shaochan responded, "I'm invisible." "Run." Lu Renquang almost burst into tears. "Why are there so many soul-attracting jellyfish? My spiritual power is not strong." Han Fei asked, "Do you all know that this is a soul-attracting jellyfish?" Zhang Xuanyu, "Of course, the teacher said it in class before. The soul-attracting jellyfish has always been the most realistic legend. Many people have seen them, but I've never heard of anyone catching one." Lu Renquang was helpless. "How can we catch them? With one attack, ordinary people will become idiots and their spirits will be destroyed. How can we catch them?" Zhang Xuanyu replied, "I'm not afraid. I can't resist 3 of them, but I can fight one alone. Help me hunt one first. When it becomes my second contractual spiritual beast, I'll help you get the soul resistance pearl." Chapter 200. There was no telling if it was an illusion, but Han Fei suddenly found that everybody had their own characteristics. Although Luo Xiaobai was a bit cold, she was mature and calm. She had the meticulous thinking and logic of a manipulator. Xia Shaochan was mysterious and lively. The moment she saw the soul-attracting jellyfish, she chose to go invisible. Han Fei suspected that she was going to kill a soul-attracting jellyfish. As for Zhang Xuanyu, he wasn't scared of the soul-attracting jellyfish at all. Even Lu Renquang could be said to be completely violent in terms of attack. As the few of them were discussing, they suddenly felt like a bolt out of the blue. Their brains were about to explode. Lu Renquang was the first to be hit. He was bleeding from all his facial orifices and vomited. Then he floated in the water and stopped moving. Everybody was shocked to see that. Luo Xiaobai entangled Lu Renquang with a vine and stuffed him into the vine. There was air for him to breathe in. Luo Xiaobai's face changed greatly. "Run!" But before Luo Xiaobai ran any further, she covered her head with both hands and rolled in the water. Her usual elegance was completely ruined by a soul attack, and she seemed to have gone crazy. Without saying a word, Zhang Xuanyu ran away with Luo Xiaobai in one hand and the vine that contained Lu Renquang in the other. He also told Han Fei to run. Han Fei had suffered mental attacks before. Everybody had fought Zhang Xuanyu when they were training in the Thug Academy. However, Zhang Xuanyu's soul attack could only temporarily stop them. Maybe his head was stinging, but Han Fei didn't feel that it was particularly serious. Until Han Fei felt that invisible waves were hitting his head. At that moment, his brain felt like it was about to split open. It was a heart-wrenching pain that was incomparably terrifying. It was not until a few seconds later that the pain gradually weakened. Shoot! Is the soul-attracting jellyfish's attack so strong? Han Fei found, to his surprise, that he had resisted it. Before Han Fei had time to think, he felt a hand grabbing him and running away. Xia Shaochan was half hidden. "Huh? You can resist the soul-attracting jellyfish's mental attack?" Han Fei was stunned. "Isn't it a soul attack? It means the same thing. Only those with strong mental power can resist it. As a manipulator, Xiaobai should be able to block it, but Fatty would not be able to. But you can do it too." Do spirit gatherers also have spiritual talents? Have you forgotten that I practice the million knife art? That's not completely controlling the saber with spiritual energy. After hearing Han Fei's explanation, Xia Shaochan was relieved. That's right, there doesn't seem to be anything wrong with saying that. However, after running for a while, they discovered that there were at least 2 or 3 soul-attracting jellyfish every few kilometers. No one had ever thought that there would be a day when exotic creatures could be found everywhere. Of course, they also understood why few great fishing masters could go back alive when they came down. Even dangling fishers would be in great danger if they were not good at soul or mental attacks. Luo Xiaobai recovered. Stop and find an empty space. Zhang Xuanyu stood in front of me, and I pulled one over by force. Xia Shaochan said, you pull one, and I'll kill one alone. When the time comes, we'll surround and kill the remaining one. Luo Xiaobai asked, Shaochan, can you resist it? Xia Shaochan waved her dagger and said, of course, at least it can't find me before I take action. After I take action, it won't have a chance. Han Fei said, Shaochan, if you don't use the supreme stab now, when will you? After all, these soul-attracting jellyfish are all above level 30. Xia Shaochan nodded and suddenly disappeared. Holding back her discomfort, Luo Xiaobai extended her vines and grabbed a soul-attracting jellyfish. At the same time, Zhang Xuanyu stood in front of Luo Xiaobai, and so did Han Fei. Zhang Xuanyu asked, Han Fei, can you do it? Han Fei rolled his eyes at him. As a man, you can't say no. The soul-attracting jellyfish were not fast. Except for a few jellyfish, most jellyfish were very slow. So, it was easy to catch them. However, the moment the soul-attracting jellyfish was caught, a spiritual blast hit everyone's soul. Zhang Xuanyu's face suddenly turned red, and the bloodthirsty shark suddenly appeared and bombarded the jellyfish with a spiritual wave. Bam! Invisible forces collided, and the water within 100 meters was surging. Zhang Xuanyu's face was pale, but he survived the attack. Seeing that the soul-attracting jellyfish's first wave of attack was over, Han Fei immediately summoned dozens of blue sea wandering dragon daggers. Hew, hew, hew. The daggers pierced through the soul-attracting jellyfish in the blink of an eye. But to Han Fei's surprise, although the soul-attracting jellyfish was pierced, the rest of it was intact except for the frozen wound. It was like jelly. Even if you pricked it with a needle, it would still be jelly. Humph. I don't believe it. You can block 10 of my attacks, but can you block 100 or 1,000? Break. To Zhang Xuanyu's and Luo Xiaobai's surprise, Han Fei used his immature million knife art for the first time. Even though it was immature, it was still a terrifying thing to cut the soul-attracting jellyfish crazily with 10 knives. The spiritual attack came again. Zhang Xuanyu's face turned cold and he attacked again. Bam! After 5 consecutive attacks, Zhang Xuanyu vomited a mouthful of blood. A human's spiritual power was limited and needed to rest after it was exhausted. Zhang Xuanyu was almost done. He said to Han Fei telepathically, kill it and wake up Lu Renkuang first. Then, his 1,000-blade slash will be more useful. Han Fei nodded. This soul-attracting jellyfish was dying. He was considering if he should ask Zhang Xuanyu to sign a contract with it. However, the current situation didn't allow it. It made sense. If Lu Renkuang woke up, his ranged attacks would be stronger. This soul-attracting jellyfish was dying, so Han Fei simply rushed out. He was no longer scared. Han Fei simply tore the big jellyfish apart and took out the soul resistance pearl inside. Throwing the pearl to Zhang Xuanyu, Han Fei said, I'm going to check on Xia Shaochan. Luo Xiaobai said, be careful. Zhang Xuanyu was exhausted and needed a rest, so he didn't stop her. Han Fei swam 1,000 meters away. With a flash between his eyebrows, Little Black and Little White appeared. Han Fei pointed at a soul-attracting jellyfish not far away and said, Little Black, bite through it and pick up a pearl for me. Little Hay darted out in a flash. It was rather dumbfounded to see such a big guy. Is master trying to kill me? Little Black's body size suddenly grew several times larger. Then, it opened its mouth and bit at the jellyfish. Then, Su Han-fei saw an amazing scene. The supposedly powerful soul-attracting jellyfish was bitten off like jelly. Because Little Black was invisible, the soul-attracting jellyfish's attack was launched at nowhere, causing the seawater nearby to surge. In no more than 10 seconds, Little Black swam close with the soul resistance pearl in its mouth and rubbed Han Fei's arm affectionately. Han Fei took the soul resistance pearl, stuffed it into his mouth, and swallowed. This soul-attracting jellyfish was probably the most tragic one in history. She didn't know what happened, but she was swallowed by Little Black like it was jelly. Seizing the opportunity, Han Fei quickly swam over and collected another 2 soul resistance pearls in no time. At this moment, Little Black was biting a soul-attracting jellyfish. Han Fei shouted, "Little Black, don't kill it. Just cripple it. This one doesn't need a pearl. I need it." After the soul-attracting jellyfish was half crippled, Han Fei ran to it unhurriedly and smiled at the larger jellyfish. "Do you know what a natural enemy is now?" At this moment, the soul-attracting jellyfish's mental attack fell on Han Fei. However, Han Fei was fine except for slight discomfort and a slight headache. Han Fei even had mixed feelings. The soul resistance pearls are really good stuff. I wonder if I can become stronger after eating a few more. Then he took out another soul resistance bead and threw it into his mouth. The cool bead was quickly refined by his spiritual energy as soon as it entered his body. When the soul-attracting jellyfish attacked again, Han Fei only felt that his body trembled, and it was over. Han Fei's eyes glittered. Not bad. I can resist the soul-attracting jellyfish's mental attack after eating 2 pearls. That's definitely worth it. The soul-attracting jellyfish was stunned too. If it could talk, it would have cursed, "You're cheating. Come back." The calabash appeared in Han Fei's hand, and the half-crippled soul-attracting jellyfish was immediately stored in it, becoming friends with the dragon eel and the others. Cell phone website. Chapter 201. Instead of harvesting the soul-attracting jellyfish, Han Fei quickly turned back and searched for Xia Shaochan. Then, he hurried back to Zhang Xuanyu. On his way back, Xia Shaochan suddenly appeared next to Han Fei only 1,000 meters away from Zhang Xuanyu. He was so startled that he almost slashed at her. Han Fei was lost for words. "Are you trying to scare me? Where have you been?" Xia Shaochan looked at Han Fei weirdly. "I went to hunt the soul-attracting jellyfish. Where have you been?" As she spoke, Xia Shaochan held a soul resistance pearl in her hand while staring at Han Fei. Han Fei raised his hand awkwardly. "Wow! What a coincidence. I accidentally killed a soul-attracting jellyfish just now. We're really fated to meet." Xia Shaochan squinted at Han Fei. "Really?" Han Fei nodded. "Of course." Han Fei's heart trembled. Has this girl been following me all this time? To be honest, if Xia Shaochan had been following me, I wouldn't have been able to discover her. If she saw the scene of him asking Little Black to make a move, would her eyes pop out? Also, I just used the demon purification pot to collect the demon. Did she see that? Han Fei was about to speak, when Xia Shaochan slipped and landed next to Luo Xiaobai, whose face was pale. At this moment, Lu Renkuang had woken up and was rubbing his head in a daze. He didn't know anything just now. Anyway, when he woke up, he knew that he had eaten a soul resistance pearl. It felt so good. He always felt that he had won without doing anything. Xia Shaochan handed out the soul resistance pearl and said, "Xiaobai, eat this first." Luo Xiaobai asked, "What about you?" Xia Shaochan said casually, "I'll go hunting later. There are so many soul-attracting jellyfish here. They are all ours. Nobody is competing with us." Zhang Xuanyu held the vine and breathed heavily. "How about resting for 2 hours? My spiritual power is exhausted. I'm a little tired. Han Fei threw the soul resistance pearl in his hand to Zhang Xuanyu. Here. Although your spiritual power is strong, we need you to be stronger. You can have this one first. Zhang Xuanyu was shocked. Didn't you go to find Xia Shaochan? Why did you kill one too? Han Fei gloated. Of course. Did you forget my million knife art? Zhang Xuanyu thought, I didn't forget. But even if you know the million knife art, can you withstand so many spiritual shocks in a row? Although Zhang Xuanyu was still puzzled, he didn't hold back at all. He caught the soul resistance pearl and stuffed it directly into his mouth. Then, he sighed and said, later, I'll lead you to sweep through this area of water. The soul resistance pearls are all ours. Han Fei smiled and sat down next to Lu Renkuang, indicating that he was ready to win without doing anything. Then he took out a deck of fish dragon cards. Let's play cards. Everyone. Even Lu Renkuang was stunned. Brother, we're exploring a dangerous place. What do you mean by playing cards? Didn't Zhang Xuanyu say that he would rest for 2 hours? Let's play cards. Zhang Xuanyu immediately sat down. I like this. After a while, the place became lively. Although Luo Xiaobai was interested in playing cards, she always felt that it would distract her. Most of the time, he just played cards with Xia Shaochan in his spare time. At this moment, he just sat next to Xia Shaochan and gave her advice. Han Fei said, call the landlord. Zhang Xuanyu said, rob the landlord. Xia Shaochan shouted, rob the landlord. Xia Shaochan became the landlord, and they played cards happily, completely forgetting their purpose of coming here. At the bottom of the sea, 4 or 5 kilometers away, Wenren Yu's face was black. You guys are a bunch of weirdos. You're the only one who came to the dangerous place of the level 2 fishery from the town to play cards. For thousands of years, I'm afraid no one can compare with you. 2 hours later. Xia Shaochan raised her hand. Zhang Xuanyu owes me 10,000 mid-quality pearls, Lu Renkuang owes me 6,000, and Han Fei owes me 12,000. Pay me when we return to the town. Han Fei threw down the bad cards in his hand. Xia Shaochan, let me tell you, when I conceived the fish dragon cards game, I made it clear. People who play cards can't gamble. Even if there is, it can't be more than 1 low-quality pearl. Xia Shaochan glared at Han Fei. Don't deny your loss. You lost to me in the game you invented, and you still want to deny it? Zhang Xuanyu muttered, this is not fair. Xiao Bai has been helping you the whole time. If you played alone, you would have lost. Lu Renkuang scratched his head. Well, it's so hurtful to talk about money. Should we go play the soul-attracting jellyfish? Zhang Xuanyu and Han Fei looked at each other and quickly got up. Han Fei nodded. Yes, Lu Renkuang reminded us. What are we here for? Adventure, cultivation. What about you, Xia Shaochan? Playing cards? What about you? Xia Shaochan was so angry that she pulled out her knife and stabbed it into Han Fei with a clink. Who the hell took out the fish dragon cards just now? Who was the one who lost to him? And now he was even lecturing her. How shameless. Han Fei blinked his eyes and dragged Zhang Xuanyu. Run, run, or we'll lose money. Zhang Xuanyu nodded. Of course. I understood your look just now. Zhang Xuanyu anxiously said to everyone, Xiao Bai, cooperate with me. Let them know what it means to enjoy the fruits of others' labor. Zhang Xuanyu dashed several kilometers away and pointed at a soul-attracting jellyfish, which was a little confused. Were there 5 tiny things floating over? Give them a shot. Zhang Xuanyu, who was at the front, didn't feel anything. His body trembled and he endured it. Lu Renkuang wanted to try the effect of the soul resistance pearl, but he also ran forward and took a hit. He covered his head. No, it hurts. I have to take another soul resistance pearl. After that, his armor box moved, and a large number of swords and sabers rushed out. Lu Renquang, who could resist the mental blast, was a great weapon against the jelly-like soul-attracting jellyfish. Zhang Xuanyu was speechless. Quang, didn't you say that I would come? Lu Renquang grunted. You're too slow. Luo Xiaobai said, let me try the next one. A moment later, countless vines crushed a soul-attracting jellyfish, and Han Fei followed them and won. In less than half an hour, each of them had eaten 5 or 6 soul resistance pearls. However, everyone's enthusiasm didn't diminish, and they were still moving forward. During this period, they found a total of 3 spiritual fruits from the bottom of the water. They were not crimson sea fruits, but they must be similar. They all contain nearly 10,000 points of spiritual energy. 1 hour passed. Luo Xiaobai stopped them. Okay, stop killing. The soul resistance pearls are useless to us. Do you want to consider a second contractual spiritual beast? Except for Zhang Xuanyu, everyone shook their heads. Xia Shaochan said in disdain, I don't want such a weak contractual spiritual beast. Zhang Xuanyu said, that depends on who uses it. It's very good for me, it can greatly strengthen my soul attack, it's simply perfect. Lu Renquang said leisurely, go ahead. I'll leave the second contractual spiritual beast to the level 3 fishery. Xia Shaochan nodded. Me too. Luo Xiaobai handed the soul resistance pearl in her hand to Han Fei. I want to go to the deep sea jungle. There may be a suitable second contractual spiritual beast for me. Everyone shivered. The piercing electricity zone was the 4th most dangerous place, but the deep sea jungle ranked 2nd. Was it appropriate to go directly to the deep sea jungle after passing the stone forest? Han Fei was a little scared too. Why don't we search for spiritual fruits here first? Xia Shaochan said, no need. The greatest benefit here is the soul resistance pearl of the soul-attracting jellyfish. Although each of us has eaten 5 or 6 and grabbed a few more in our hands, a soul resistance pearl is actually much more valuable than a spiritual fruit. Luo Xiaobai nodded. That's right. There are few things that can strengthen mental resistance or soul resistance. Ordinary people can't come down even if they know that there are soul-attracting jellyfish here. Even if they can, they have to resist the attacks of the soul-attracting jellyfish first. Han Fei nodded. Okay, it's up to you. Everyone looked at each other and smiled. The vines around them rose up and surrounded everyone. Then, the vines closed and once again formed a path from top to bottom. Luo Xiaobai said, let's go. The vines went all the way up and past the explosion zone of the blue hat jellyfish. Then, everyone experienced another round of electric shock. Fortunately, this time, Lu Renquang was already prepared. As a result, they were paralyzed by the electric shock and couldn't even speak. On the fishing boat, Zhang Xuanyu took a long breath. Shall we go to the stone forest first or the deep sea jungle? I personally suggest going to the stone forest first. There must be a reason why the stone forest ranks 3rd. If we can't even survive the stone forest, the deep sea jungle will be very dangerous. Lu Renquang agreed. Let's go to the stone forest one step at a time. Xia Shaochan waved her dagger. It doesn't matter. Han Fei said, let's go one by one. If we go to all 4 places, I'm afraid we'll never come back. Luo Xiaobai nodded. Okay, let's go to the stone forest then. On the phone. Chapter 202. Zhang Xuanyu closed the fish skin notebook and said, this is the place. Although many people have tried to mine the stones in the stone forest, the success rate is not high. Han Fei was speechless. Are you crazy? You came all the way here to dig stones? Zhang Xuanyu said, don't be hasty. I'm not done yet. It's said that someone once found a rock-holding turtle in the stone forest, but I don't know if the news is reliable. Rock-holding turtle? Han Fei and the others were all surprised. Zhang Xuanyu nodded. Yes, the rock-holding turtle that people often talk about but can't find. Lu Renkuang was immediately interested. Then we can have a try. If we really find a rock-holding turtle and it becomes my contractual spiritual beast, it will be awesome. I will instantly become the best armorist in the Blue Sea town. Xia Shaochan kicked Lu Renkuang and said disdainfully, in your dreams. Not everyone who has a rock-holding turtle can become the best armorist. It depends on the combat skills on the back of the rock-holding turtle. It's said that some are good and some are mediocre. It all depends on luck. Lu Renkuang didn't care. It's good enough to get a rock-holding turtle. No one in the entire Blue Sea town has ever obtained a rock-holding turtle. If I get one, I'll take it no matter how good it is. Han Fei patted Lu Renkuang's shoulder. Okay, don't be a loser. No one has ever seen that thing. I'll give it to you when we find it. I don't care. Don't forget that this place is even more dangerous than the piercing electricity zone. No matter how strong the stone spirit crabs are, they can't be stronger than the soul-attracting jellyfish, can they? I don't believe that these stone spirit crabs can kill all the great fishing masters who come to explore here. I think there must be treasures down there. Zhang Xuanyu smiled. Yes, I agree. I think there must be a secret. Maybe it's a treasure. Xia Shaochan rolled her eyes. All you know is treasure. Let's go down first. Luo Xiaobai said, be careful. We suffered losses in the piercing electricity zone. Try to avoid some new sea creatures here. Everybody was about to jump into the water, when Han Fei suddenly said, shall we have a hot pot before we go down? Xia Shaochan was about to jump, but she held back and looked at Han Fei bitterly. Couldn't you have told me earlier? Lu Renkuang rubbed his hands and chuckled. Of course, of course. I'm starving. Luo Xiaobai also nodded slightly. The continuous exploration was somewhat unbearable. The piercing electricity zone was still fine. After all, jellyfish were very slow creatures. However, the piercing electricity zone was even weirder. It would be better to wait for a while. Han Fei took out the hot pot from his sea-swallowing seashell, as well as the grill and seasoning. Fatty, do you know how to grill squid? I picked up a lot of squid tentacles a few days ago. One is enough for the 5 of us to eat. Lu Renkuang shook his head. No, no. I'll make the hot pot. You can roast squid tentacles. Wenren Yu was the one who was most speechless about this group of people. In the past month, she had seen them eat hot pot countless times. However, as the protector, he would not appear unless it was necessary, even when it was time to eat. This was so that they could rely on themselves in times of trouble. But who could stand watching others eat hot pot every day? Half an hour later, Han Fei and the others had jumped into the water, and Wenren Yu appeared on Han Fei's fishing boat. There were some vegetables left in the pot and a few kilograms of shredded grilled squid on the grill. She grunted and grabbed the barbecue to eat. As for the remaining hot pot in the pot, she couldn't eat it. She couldn't eat the leftovers of a group of little ghosts, right? As soon as they entered the water, a lot of strip fish and bony spur fish surrounded them, but they were strangled by Luo Xiaobai and Lu Renkuang, leaving a pile of minced meat. Lu Renkuang said to her via voice transmission, it's not good for us to leave the leftover hot pot for teacher, right? Why don't we ask teacher to come on board and eat together? Xia Shaochan scoffed. Are you stupid? If he wants to come, he would have come a long time ago. Luo Xiaobai added, teacher doesn't want to interfere with our experience unless we are in danger. Teacher won't help us unless we are on the verge of death. So, we can't slack off. Han Fei didn't discuss with them but looked around. Have you found that this water is a bit dark? Zhang Xuanyu shook his head. No, it's not as dark as the deep-sea jungle. The bottom of the sea is dark, and the deep-sea jungle is densely covered with all kinds of spiritual plants. God knows how many weird creatures are hiding there. They dove all the way down, and along the way, they met everything they wanted to meet. In the level 2 fishery, In addition to strip fish and bony spur fish, there were even pearl fish, dragon-headed fish, squid, big-headed shrimp. Xia Shaochan wondered, didn't you say it was dangerous? Why are there so many ordinary fish? There's nothing in the piercing electricity water. Zhang Xuanyu responded with a smile, which fish can withstand the electricity of those piercing electricity jellyfish? Not to mention the blue hat jellyfish. In ordinary waters, it can kill a lot of fish with a single explosion. They had been diving. They didn't know if the dangerous places were particularly deep. They dived 500 meters before they saw the array-like outline at the bottom of the water. Luo Xiaobai said, "Attention, we're about to reach the bottom. Dive a little and see what's below." After a while, they saw it. Stone forest creepy land. They didn't know why it was called this until now. There were stone walls dozens of meters high standing on the bottom of the sea. Between the stone walls, it was very dark and they couldn't see clearly what was inside. Lu Renkuang swallowed. Can't there be a more normal place on the bottom of the sea? This place looks very strange. Han Fei said, a maze. These stone walls stretch for God knows how many kilometers, and the stone walls are not connected. There are gaps. This is more difficult than a connected maze. A maze? Zhang Xuanyu was helpless. Which idiot made such a big maze in this damn place? Luo Xiaobai wondered, it looks like some kind of relic. Anyway, it can't be made by ordinary people. Ordinary people don't have this ability. Without saying a word, Xia Shaochan took out a fishing rod and cast it directly to the surface of the sea. After a few seconds, a strip fish was hooked over and Xia Shaochan threw it into the gap of the stone wall with the hook. Buzz! In the blink of an eye, 5 or 6 white water arrows shot over the stone wall. When Xia Shaochan retracted the fishing rod, she found that the hook was gone and the fishing line was broken. Han Fei asked, "Did you see anything?" Xia Shaochan shook her head. "It happened too fast. I didn't see anything. Let me have a try." Han Fei also quickly hooked a bone spur fish from the upper water area and threw it into the stone wall. His perception range was larger than Xia Shaochan's. At the moment when the bone spur fish entered the gap of the stone wall, Han Fei saw water arrows shooting around, and he quickly controlled the fishing line to avoid the water arrows. A crab? Han Fei saw clearly what that thing looked like. It was a crab with a stone on its head. Han Fei immediately retracted the fishing rod, but when the fishing rod was pulled over the stone wall, suddenly an irresistible force directly tore the fishing line, and the fish fell into the gap of the stone wall with the hook. Everyone looked at Han Fei, who said with a strange look, "A crab that can shoot arrows, and there seems to be a seal here." Luo Xiaobai explained, "It's a water arrow crab, a rare spiritual crab, but very few people have awakened this kind of crab. There are many treasure lands with seals. Don't make a fuss about it." Han Fei nodded. "Also, if we go down now, we may not be able to come up. I just tried it. It wasn't the water arrow crab that cut my fishing line, but when the hook was about to come out, it was directly cut by the seal." Wow! Everyone was taken aback and looked at Han Fei in astonishment. Luo Xiaobai pondered for a moment. "So, if we go in and try to come out directly, we may be obliterated." Zhang Xuanyu was suddenly enlightened. "That's right. So, few people who went to mine stones in the past could come back alive. In other words, we'll either be obliterated, or we'll be killing ourselves." Xia Shaochan nodded. "It must be because we can't breathe." Lu Renkuang muttered, "Then why are we still going in? The stone forest is so big. We can't get out if we go in. What if we get lost?" Han Fei and Zhang Xuanyu looked at each other and said at the same time, "Let's go in." Luo Xiaobai said, "Don't be impulsive." Han Fei said, "It's not impulsive. The purpose of the maze is to make people lose their way." Zhang Xuanyu followed. "Since the purpose is to make people lose their way, there must be something that they don't want people to find, or treasure." Han Fei continued, "Yes. Besides, don't forget that this is the level 2 fishery. To put it bluntly, since Ms. Wenren dared to let us come here, she either has confidence in us or is not afraid of this maze. At least, in the case of Xiaobai, we don't have to worry about breathing. Zhang Xuanyu cooperated. Besides, if we can't even get out of a maze, what if there is a place more dangerous than the stone forest in the future? Don't go. You know, even ordinary fisheries have many dangerous places. In the future, what we will encounter will only be more dangerous than now. With that, Zhang Xuanyu and Han Fei raised their hands at the same time and clapped again. The two of them could go to a comedy show. Cell phone site. Chapter 203. Obviously, everyone was persuaded, but Luo Xiaobai was still cautious. She waved her hand, and a thin vine wrapped around the waists of the 5 people, ensuring that they wouldn't be separated after they entered. Han Fei said, "I'll lead the way. Follow me." As Han Fei dove, everyone followed him. As soon as they entered the gap of the stone wall, 7 or 8 water arrows came at them again. Han Fei instantly took out his blue sea wandering dragon daggers, and 7 or 8 cold lights darted out, piercing through the water arrow crabs. No matter how powerful the water arrow crabs were, they were just rare spiritual crabs in the level 2 fishery. However, the blue sea wandering dragon daggers were real spiritual weapons. Although they were not as spiritual as the legendary spiritual weapons, it was still very easy for them to kill a common rare creature with their strength and sharpness. The moment they landed, Luo Xiaobai waved a vine and slashed upward. In an instant, the vine was cut into 2 pieces. Xia Shaochan playfully grabbed a dead water arrow crab and threw it into the sky, which was also cut into 2 halves. It seems that we can't go out from the top. What I'm curious about is, there are so many water arrow crabs here. Where are the stone spirit crabs? Luo Xiaobai extended her hand, and the vines began to search around the wall, as if she were detecting something. Han Fei said, "Stop searching. The stone spirit crabs are down there. Look." Han Fei pointed to the hole at the bottom of the wall, where 5 or 6 big crabs were crouching along the wall. They looked no different from stones. Zhang Xuanyu tapped the back shell of the stone spirit crab with a stick, and the big crab's eyes widened. Then it quickly closed and continued to pretend to be a stone. Everyone. Lu Renquang was amused. Why did you knock them? It was originally fine, but now that you've knocked on it, what if they all come out to clamp on you? Zhang Xuanyu said lazily, "Stupid. Not every creature in the ocean is aggressive. It seems that the stone spirit crabs are the laziest crabs. They hide in stones and don't move at all. Perhaps because of this, after a long time, the stones that the stone spirit crabs live in will become the best weapons because of the spiritual aura." Lu Renquang scratched his head. TSK. Are there really such stupid crabs? So, the stones that others want to dig out are the stones at the bottom? Lu Renquang found a dagger from the armor box and knocked it on the stone under the stone wall, making a crisp sound, but there was not even a mark on the stone. Lu Renquang was overjoyed. "Good stone. Let's dig." Hey, don't go." The few of them revealed looks of disdain. "Did we ask you to come down just to let you dig stones?" Luo Xiaobai said, "If it's a regular maze, we can always find the exit as long as we walk along one side. However, the stone walls here are all broken." Han Fei summoned Little Black and Little White, touched Little White's head, and said, Little White, can you feel anything different here? Are there any treasures? Spirit fruits or something?" Seeing Han Fei summon Little White, everyone remembered that Little White's abilities were extraordinary. Since he could find exotic creatures, couldn't he find other treasures too? Little White was confused. It spun around on the spot for a long time, wanting to go left and right. Xia Shaochan guessed, "Are there good things in both directions?" Han Fei touched Little White's head. "Let's find the best ones. We don't want anything bad." After that, Little White began to lead the way. Xia Shaochan was shocked. Why is little white so smart? How can you find such treasures? Doesn't it mean that you can find any treasures in the future? Zhang Xuanyu said enviously, great. This is a treasure-hunting spirit-swallowing fish, right? This spiritual beast can definitely rank in the top 5 in the Blue Sea town, right? Lu Renkuang also said enviously, not just that. How many spiritual beasts have you seen that are good at treasure hunting? In terms of treasure hunting, I'm afraid this is the only one in the Blue Sea town. Swish, 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 before they walked 10 meters, a group of water arrows sprayed out. Different from the stone spirit crab, the water arrow crab was not big but aggressive. It lay on the stone wall and sprayed randomly. Before Han Fei took action, Lu Renkuang and Zhang Xuanyu, who had nothing to do, killed them in minutes. Half an hour later. Everyone was stunned. Little White led the way in a roundabout way. The 5 of them turned left, right, forward, backward. Another hour passed, and Little White was completely bewildered. Han Fei didn't know whether Little White was confused or not, but he was. Zhang Xuanyu said helplessly, Little White, have you found it? You're not lost, are you? Xia Shaochan nodded. If you're good, go ahead. Zhang Xuanyu shrugged. I can't. Shit, Zhang Xuanyu roared, and the rod in his hand rolled up a raging wave and stabbed to the side crazily. Looking at the source of the sound, he saw a huge water arrow shooting at him. The arrowhead alone was several meters long. Bim, Zhang Xuanyu was knocked back 7 or 8 steps by the water arrow. His face flushed, he was at a disadvantage. But when Zhang Xuanyu retreated, another water arrow came from the opposite side. This time, it was even stronger, and the seawater in the cracks on the wall formed a whirlpool. Lu Renkuang patted his armor box. Shield armor, BAM, the waves shattered the stone spirit crabs under the wall, and one of Lu Renkuang's big shields was directly broken. Han Fei supported Lu Renkuang and said with a slightly changed expression, it's very strong. Is it a mutant water arrow crab? Luo Xiaobai said, no, the water arrow crab can't be so strong. It's a water arrow turtle. That's an exotic creature, much stronger than the soul-attracting jellyfish. Han Fei was surprised. Stronger than the soul-attracting jellyfish? Luo Xiaobai nodded. Soul attacks are useless against it. This kind of turtle that has lived for countless years has a very strong spiritual power. As they talked, another huge water arrow was shot at them. This time, Han Fei stood in front and shouted, Rod, come. A rod shot out of Lu Renkuang's armor box. Han Fei shook his hand, and the rod, like a spear, suddenly stabbed at the tip of the arrow. Bam! The rod was bent, and the water arrow exploded. Han Fei stepped back several steps, and everybody's heart tightened. Xia Shaochan had already disappeared, and Zhang Xuanyu summoned the bloodthirsty shark. Lu Renkuang launched a frenzied knife, but in the water, he could only fly slowly. At this time, there were no longer big water arrows on the opposite side, but thousands of fine water arrows, shooting straight at them. Luo Xiaobai waved her hand, and layers of vines blocked in front of everyone. But even so, the vines were still penetrated. Lu Renkuang shouted, armor. Han Fei shouted, water shield. When the vines were shot into a plug, the remaining water arrows hit the water shield. The water shield was about to break, but the fine water arrows showed no sign of stopping, which showed how powerful their attack power was. 7 layered waves in furious sea, Zhang Xuanyu stood on the waves at the bottom of the water, rolling up one wave after another, holding a rod in his hand and rushing straight out. Zhang Xuanyu was very fierce when fighting. There were at least hundreds and thousands of water arrows, and they were blasted 30 meters away by his attack. Taking advantage of the piece 30 meters ahead, everyone rushed forward. At the same time, a huge vine more than 30 meters high slapped down from the air, and another round was won. At this moment, everyone had surpassed Lu Renkuang's knife. Han Fei looked at frenzied knife and was lost for words. Lu Renquang, can you optimize your combat skill? Don't wait until the battle is over, but your knife hasn't arrived yet. Don't you think it's embarrassing? Zhang Xuanyu nodded. I've been meaning to say that. It's too slow. You're flying so slowly. Lu Renquang was lost for words. I want to be fast too. It takes time for frenzied knife to charge up. Luo Xiaobai said, let's wait. Xiao Chan must have gone around from above. We have to hurry. So, they immediately surpassed Lu Renquang's knife and moved forward quickly. After a few seconds, they saw a big turtle the size of a hill, with strange rocks on its shell. Han Fei glanced at it. Name a water arrow turtle. Introduction. This is a water arrow turtle that has lived for more than 900 years. It has been living here for a long time and has extremely strong attack and defense power. Because it doesn't see the sun all year round, it has been nourished with a water-repellent pill. Level 39 Quality Exotic Spiritual Energy greater than 5,640 points. Effect It can strengthen the body, expand the meridians, and prolong life. Collectible The Water-Repellent Pearl Cell Phone Station. Chapter 204. Everybody was shocked when they saw the water arrow tortoise. It was like a small mountain. There were strange stones on the back of the ancient tortoise shell and all kinds of mysterious engravings. Clink! Xia Shaochan appeared below the water arrow tortoise's neck and launched the supreme stab upward. The stab was so cold and powerful that Han Fei felt that it could stab into his flesh. Huh! However, as the water arrow tortoise roared, Xia Shaochan was flung away. Han Fei rushed forward, because he saw that the water arrow tortoise was about to launch another water arrow. Han Fei caught Xia Shaochan and threw her to Luo Xiaobai. At the same time, spiritual energy surged out of the long rod in his hand. In the blink of an eye, he blocked the arrow. Crack! Crack! However, to Han Fei's shock, the long rod in his hand broke inch by inch. Seeing that it was only a few inches away from his hand, Han Fei hurried to cover his body with a spiritual energy protective cover. Bam! After an explosion, Han Fei was blown away like a cannonball and hit a stone wall. The huge impact actually knocked down the stone wall with a loud bang. The stone spirit crabs in the corner didn't even have time to react before they were crushed by the blast. Pooh! Vomiting a mouthful of blood, Han Fei felt that he had been hit by a mountain, and the blood in his body was surging. At the same time, he felt that his bones were about to be broken. Everybody quickly came to Han Fei's side with shock on their faces. They all knew how strong Han Fei's body was, but he was so miserable under the close-range attack of the water arrow tortoise. Han Fei struggled to his feet. Who can tell me what kind of species the water arrow tortoise is? Why is it so strong? Han Fei thought of the hexagon starfish and was horrified. The big turtle before him gave him the same feeling as the hexagon starfish. At least, the hexagon starfish didn't beat people randomly. But this thing had already started attacking when they were still far away. More importantly, they couldn't resist it. Luo Xiaobai's face slightly changed. Wait, something is wrong with this water arrow tortoise. It can't be so strong. Han Fei asked, what if it's close to level 40? Xia Shaochan nodded. That's possible. A level 40 giant tortoise is much stronger than regular dangling fishers. I'm afraid we can't defeat it. Luo Xiaobai said, if he's a dangling fisher, he might have a chance. However, this water arrow turtle has exceeded our expectations. It shouldn't have appeared in the level 2 fishery at all. Lu Renquang shivered. See, I told you. How could the third most dangerous place be safe? Everyone discussed as they retreated. It was indeed difficult to take it head-on, so he decided to retreat first. There was no need to fight at all, and no one was stupid. Xia Xiaochan's all-out attack didn't shake the water arrow turtle at all. Han Fei attacked with all his strength, but he was blasted away. At this moment, everyone looked at Lu Renquang sympathetically. Once the knife is drawn, there will be blood. This time, you can vomit it yourself. Lu Renkuang almost burst into tears. How could he have known that the opponent would be so strong? However, there was no way to retract the saber now. Everyone stared at the direction Mad Blade had flown off in. Immediately after, a huge water arrow bombarded the saber. Bang! Lu Renkuang sat on the ground, his face extremely pale. However, to everyone's surprise, the saber was still flying and continuing to advance. Zhang Xuanyu was shocked. Kuang, I couldn't tell. Your Mad Blade seems to be stronger. Lu Renkuang said bitterly, no, I can't hold on any longer. Bam! A second water arrow came and knocked away Lu Renkuang's saber. Instantly, Lu Renkuang vomited blood and was exhausted. Han Fei had already prepared the divine healing technique. He waved it on Lu Renkuang's head and said unhurriedly, no. This water arrow turtle is too strong. Let's search somewhere else first. Luo Xiaobai nodded. I agree. Thankfully, it can't move, or we wouldn't be able to defeat it. Everybody was rather frustrated. This was only the level 2 fishery. If they couldn't even defeat the level 2 fishery, what would they do in the level 3 fishery? Of course, if their thoughts were known by other people, they would definitely be cursed. Why are you pretending? How many people in the Blue Sea town dare to come to the 4 forbidden areas? Yes, if anyone could survive in the piercing electricity zone, those who survived in the stone forest were completely lucky. As for the first 2, almost none of them made it out alive. They had just moved 1,000 meters away. Suddenly, an amazing thing happened. The stone wall around them began to move. Luo Xiaobai's face changed greatly. Run! The stone wall is closing. Han Fei looked back at the water arrow turtle. What did it mean? Did the wall move after they attacked it? However, there was no time to think about it at this moment. Everybody ran as fast as they could while the wall wasn't closed. As the group turned here and there, they passed through countless cracks before the wall slowly stopped moving. However, everybody was shocked after the wall moved this time. The path in the gap of the stone wall was flat, and there was nothing except for the water arrow crabs and the stone spirit crabs. But things were different now. Following the movement of the stone wall, countless skeletons appeared on the ground, almost reaching the point where they were everywhere. It was simply horrifying. Gudu. Lu Renkuang's eyes widened. So many people are dead. Zhang Xuanyu crouched and searched among the bones. He found fishing poles, daggers, and deformed swords and knives. Luo Xiaobai said, it's an array. This entire area of stone walls is an enormous array. Zhang Xuanyu heaved a long sigh. Anyway, we're lost now. In this damn array, we can't tell north from south at all. Now we can only count on Little White. Han Fei asked in confusion, why do you think the teacher let us go when he knew that we couldn't beat it? Although we couldn't beat it, the water arrow turtle couldn't do anything to us either. I think we have to find the answer ourselves. Han Fei nodded and touched Little White's head. Good boy, keep looking. Let's not look for the big turtle just now. Let's find something else this time. Little White didn't mind. Fish didn't choose directions by force, but by magnetic fields. Besides, Little White was not an ordinary fish. It was particularly sensitive to spiritual energy. In this stone wall maze where bones were everywhere and the spiritual energy was somewhat dry, it wasn't difficult to find a place where spiritual energy gathered. It was just that the search this time was much more troublesome than the previous one. They didn't know how far they walked in the maze. It took them half a day. Along the way, there were bones everywhere, and not a single treasure was found. As they walked, they suddenly came to an open space. Then, he saw another giant tortoise. This turtle was black and covered in black armor. It was taking a nap in its shell. Name: Stone Spirit Turtle. Introduction. This is a stone spirit turtle that has lived for more than 900 years. It lives by breathing spiritual energy and has a strong defense ability. It is lazy and spends most of its time in hibernation. Because it doesn't see the sun all year round, it has been nourished with a water avoidance pill. After wearing it, it can stay underwater all the time. Level 39 Quality Exotic Spiritual Energy greater than 5,555 points. Effect: it can strengthen the body, expand the meridians, and prolong life. Collectible Water Avoidance Pearl. Everyone was stunned. Another one. Also, its attributes were basically the same as the water arrow turtles, except that the water arrow turtle was more aggressive, and this turtle seemed to be sleeping. Moreover, its attributes were basically the same as the water arrow tortoise, except that the water arrow tortoise was more aggressive, while this tortoise seemed to be sleeping. Lu Renkuang's voice shivered. Is it asleep? Zhang Xuanyu was lost for words. Seriously? Is this a place for raising turtles? This one is probably no weaker than the water arrow turtle. Fortunately, it's asleep, or we would have been beaten again. Luo Xiaobai said, don't wake it up. Let's wait and see. Just now, the water arrow turtle was too fierce for them to approach. But this stone spirit turtle was taking a nap, which gave them enough time to observe it. Xia Shaochan ran around the stone spirit turtle in delight and said telepathically, it's more than 20 meters long. Xia Shaochan ran around the stone spirit turtle in delight and said telepathically, it's more than 20 meters long. Everyone gathered around. After a moment of silence, Han Fei said, it's an array. Everyone gathered around. After a moment of silence, Han Fei said, it's an array. Zhang Xuanyu asked, so, what's this array for? Lu Renkuang said, to trap these two turtles, of course. What else can it be used for? Han Fei asked, why do you want to trap these two turtles? Cell phone website. Chapter 205. Everyone searched around the stone spirit turtle, but there was nothing except this turtle. Clang, 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 Han Fei suddenly knocked on the turtle shell, making the sound of metal colliding. In an instant, Lu Renkuang and Zhang Xuanyu ran dozens of meters away, Xia Shaochan turned invisible, and Luo Xiaobai quickly retreated. Zhang Xuanyu was shocked. Han Fei, are you crazy? What if you wake it up? Lu Renkuang complained, Han Fei, let's stop knocking. We can still study it. Han Fei was speechless. Study it? Look at how it's sleeping. It's been sleeping for hundreds of years. Feel it carefully. It's breathing spiritual energy even when sleeping. With that said, Han Fei continued to knock. He was also studying where the rugged stones on this turtle came from. They were quite hard. He wondered if he could knock some of them off to make weapons. Clang, 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 Han Fei knocked off a stone, which felt a little heavy. He didn't know what kind of stone it was, but he threw it in to forge the universe first. Then Han Fei ran to the turtle's head. There was a smaller stone on the turtle shell here, which looked a little better than the stones on the turtle's body. Just when Han Fei was about to knock this stone off, he saw a head slowly sticking out of the turtle shell. Human, don't disturb my sleep. Shoot, Han Fei jumped back a few meters. That scared the hell out of me. This turtle can talk. Not only Han Fei, but Zhang Xuanyu and the others also shivered and quickly took a few steps back. Luo Xiaobai's face changed greatly. Han Fei, come back. This may be a turtle. Xia Shaochan curiously stuck out her head and stared at the big turtle. Han Fei coughed. Cough, cough. Well. Hey. The stone spirit turtle fully stuck out its head and said feebly, humans, let's go. I'm going to sleep. Everyone, Zhang Xuanyu said leisurely, this turtle seems a little tired. Han Fei rolled his eyes. Well, Master Turtle, what are you doing? Why are you lying here? Han Fei had seen the hexagon starfish before, so he only panicked at the beginning and then calmed down. Now that the stone spirit turtle was lazy, Han Fei felt that it might be comparable to the stone spirit crab. The stone spirit crab hid in the corner and pretended to be a rock, while the stone spirit turtle lay here and slept. It made sense. The stone spirit turtle said slowly, "Lie on your stomach and sleep." Han Fei was lost for words. "Mr. Turtle, you can sleep anywhere. Why are you sleeping here?" The stone spirit turtle said lazily, "How would I know? I fell asleep, and when I woke up, I was here. Anyway, it's just changing a place to sleep. It doesn't matter." Everyone, Han Fei carefully leaned forward and sat in front of the turtle's head. "Mr. Turtle, do you know what this place is? We just met an Uncle Turtle on the other side, but it didn't seem very friendly. It kept shooting water arrows." The stone spirit turtle turned its head slowly and looked at Han Fei with its big eyes. "Oh. It always disturbs my sleep. I don't want to move. I'm too lazy to care about it." Han Fei felt that he couldn't hold it anymore. "You really are a fucking tortoise, sleeping for nearly 1,000 years. Mr. Turtle, here's the thing. We're lost. Do you know how to get out of this place?" The stone spirit turtle slowly straightened its head again. "I don't know. I don't want to go out." "When are you leaving?" "I'm going back to sleep." "There's no hurry. You've been sleeping for hundreds of years. It's not bad to get up and stretch your muscles occasionally. Maybe you can make a breakthrough after you move a little." The stone spirit turtle wanted to shrink its head again and said slowly, "Why should I make a breakthrough? I'll make a breakthrough when I sleep." Han Fei. Han Fei was speechless. "Can't we just have a pleasant conversation? What do you mean you'll make a breakthrough when you sleep? You've been sleeping for nearly 1,000 years and you're only level 39. Is it embarrassing?" Han Fei tried to be patient. "Mr. Turtle, look at the array under your feet. Let me tell you, someone has sealed you. If you move a little, you'll break the seal. In this way, you can find a comfortable place to sleep. For example, you can find a beautiful coral bush. When you wake up, you can see colorful corals. When you're hungry, as soon as you open your mouth, small fish will run into your stomach. Wouldn't it be more comfortable to sleep?" The stone spirit turtle didn't shrink its head anymore. It glanced at Han Fei. "I'm tempted, but I don't want to move. Can you move the corals to my side?" Han Fei was speechless. Xia Shaochan and the others were also speechless. How could there be such a turtle? "You want me to move the corals to your side for you to sleep? Look at how beautiful you are." Seeing that there was hope, Han Fei struck while the iron was hot. "Mr. Turtle, think about it. Just move a little and break the seal. We'll take you to a coral bush immediately. You don't know, there is a coral bush only a few thousand kilometers away from here. It's as beautiful as a fairyland. I saw a lot of turtles sleeping there." The stone spirit turtle was suspicious. "Really?" Han Fei patted his chest. "Of course it's true. Let's not take the one next door that spits water arrows. It will disturb your sleep." Zhang Xuanyu and the others were speechless. Anyone with a bit of intelligence wouldn't believe it. How could there be so many turtles sleeping in the coral bush? But this stone spirit turtle believed it. The stone spirit turtle was suspicious. "Can I move a little?" Han Fei was overjoyed. "Okay, move a little and climb out of the array on the ground first." The stone spirit turtle nodded. "Then get out of the way." Han Fei hurriedly ran dozens of meters away and said expectantly, "Mr. Turtle, the coral bush is waiting for you. You can eat fish, shrimp, and crabs as soon as you open your mouth. Occasionally, a female turtle will pass by. Maybe something indescribable will happen. Think about it. This is your motivation." Everyone looked at the sky, and Zhang Xuanyu looked at the stone wall. Le Rinquang fiddled with the armor box, Luo Xiaobai blushed, and Xia Shaochan glared at Han Fei. The huge body of the stone spirit turtle moved. The moment it raised its limbs, the whole water surface suddenly surged, and the underground array flickered. Boom! As soon as the stone spirit turtle took a step, the earth shook, and the stone wall behind them began to move. The stone spirit turtle took 2 steps, and an invisible shield suddenly appeared in front of the stone spirit turtle. Bam! The stone spirit turtle took another step forward, and the spiritual energy shield began to shake. Han Fei was shocked. What kind of array is this? Isn't it too powerful? Can I learn it as a spirit gatherer? Although he was shocked, Han Fei was shouting, Mr. Turtle, you're only 1 step away from victory. Come on, oh yeah, bam. 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 The entire stone forest was shaking violently. But Han Fei was very excited, which meant that a big event had been triggered. If the stone spirit turtle could really come out, would he be able to find the treasures in the stone forest? Suddenly, the stone spirit turtle lay down and said feebly, I can't go out. Forget it, I'm not going. Everyone, Han Fei was stunned. Don't. Mr. Turtle, you're only half a meter away from victory. You can't give up. The stone spirit turtle said unhurriedly, I remember now. It seems that a stick was stuck here before, and we can't go out until we pull that stick out. I don't want to move. I'm too tired. Han Fei frowned. Stick? What stick? Where is it? The stone spirit turtle said, I don't know. I seem to have hit a bit of it just now. Go and find it. Call me when you find it. You have to take me to the corals. Han Fei said righteously, no problem. I'll take care of it. Xiao Bai, hurry up and find a stick. It must be in a place with the most abundant spiritual energy. Luo Xiaobai's face was black. Didn't we agree to call it Xiaobai? Why did it become Xiaobai again? Han Fei, however, didn't care. He was very excited at this moment. 1 stick was suppressing 2 turtles. Not to brag, this was definitely a ridiculously awesome stick. This was definitely the treasure of the stone forest treacherous land. When Han Fei and the others looked back, the stone wall was surprisingly connected into lines and turned into channels. Han Fei was stunned. When did it change? Everyone had a dumbfounded look on their faces. They had only heard him bragging just now. Who knew when he had changed? Maybe it was when the stone spirit turtle hit the seal. Cell phone website. Chapter 206. In the outside world, Wenren Yu's face changed. When the stone forest shook, she instantly went from the surface to the bottom of the sea. Wenren Yu frowned. The reason why she didn't stop Han Fei and the others from exploring the stone forest was that this place was a maze. She knew that this was an ancient array set up by someone. But the point was that this array didn't hurt people. In the past, people died here because most of them were suffocated to death. Just then, someone came out of the stone forest treacherous land. But Luo Xiaobai had air. Plants wouldn't care where you were. As long as there was land, vines could grow. Even when they reached a certain level, they didn't need land. Therefore, when Renyu felt that it was only a matter of time before Han Fei and the others came out. She was even prepared to laugh at them after they came out, to stop them from searching for treasures, and to tell them that not every place in this ocean had treasures. But now, the seal was shaking, and the entire stone forest was moving, which was completely different from what she had expected. When Renyu frowned, and hundreds of sword grasses appeared around her and shot out horizontally, trying to break the seal on the stone forest. But she was too careless. The stone forest only allowed people below the dangling fisher realm to enter. She wanted to enter, but she couldn't. Bam! 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 Above the stone forest treacherous land, a layer of rippling boundary appeared. When the swordgrass bombarded it, it only caused a few ripples. There wasn't even the slightest tremor. Damn it! Wenren swam above the stone forest, but this barrier seemed to have the ability to block her sight, and she couldn't see through it at all. At this time, Wenren remembered something that Old Bai once said. In terms of weirdness, the stone forest was comparable to the fiery mountain, and it was far stranger than the deep-sea jungle. Below, Han Fei and the others were moving forward along the passage. This time, there were almost no obstacles, and the road ahead was smooth. Everyone was very excited. Zhang Xuanyu said with a smile, Han Fei, why didn't I find that you were so good at bragging before? Lu Renkuang echoed, yes. I almost believed it. Han Fei rolled his eyes at them. What do you mean by bragging? I'm telling the truth. Isn't sleeping in the coral bushes better than sleeping in this stone forest? Zhang Xuanyu, that's true, but when it comes to your mouth, it's just boasting. He even wanted to find a female tortoise. Let me tell you, this tortoise can even speak, so it's definitely not an ordinary character. You want to see the second one? Difficult. Xia Shaochan suddenly asked, do you think the water arrow turtle can talk? Luo Xiaobai shook her head. This black tortoise should be a special species, perhaps even more magical than exotic creatures. Han Fei thought to himself, I can't tell you that its name is Stone Spirit Turtle and it's only exotic. It might be a coincidence that he could speak. Wasn't it the same as the hexagon starfish he had met before? Although the hexagon starfish was a mysterious species, since it could speak, it meant that there were many other species in the sea that could speak. Therefore, he wasn't surprised that the stone spirit crab could speak. Everyone searched for a path and quickly moved forward. An hour later, they finally arrived. However, when everyone arrived, they found that there was only a bulging mound of earth. A stick full of stones was inserted into a big mound of earth. Luo Xiaobai frowned. Be careful. Look at the ground. There were complicated carvings on the ground, which were not obvious but very weird. Gulp. Lu Renkuang said in shock, is this someone's grave? It can't be. Why do we always run into places where people are buried? Without saying anything, Zhang Xuanyu stepped forward. Grave? What grave? As long as this stick is pulled out. Zhang Xuanyu tried hard but failed to pull it out. He said awkwardly, don't panic. Let me try. Rise. Spiritual energy surged in Zhang Xuanyu's hands, and a huge force was exerted on the stick, causing the seawater around him to tremble, but the stick still didn't move. Lu Renkuang said straightforwardly, so, you just didn't pull it out? Seeing that he seemed to be despised, Zhang Xuanyu said unhappily, you can do it. Lu Renkuang waved his hand. You can't. In terms of strength, only Han Fei and I can do it. It's easy for me to pull it out. Seeing that there was no danger, Lu Renkuang became bold. He threw away the armor box and began to pull out the stick. Huh? Rise. Zhang Xuanyu watched the show from the side. Wow. It's so easy. Lu Renkuang was so embarrassed that he immediately patted his armor box. Rampage, he sat on the ground with a thud, unable to pull the stick out. Instead, a piece of stone fell off the stick, revealing the dark body of the stick. Luo Xiaobai's eyes lit up. It trembled. Zhang Xuanyu said, okay, I just tried. This stick seems to be stuck by something, or it's a bit heavy. Don't you think about it? How can a rod that can suppress the stone forest's sinister seal be simple? Han Fei rubbed his hands. Come on, let me try. Let's make it clear that the stick belongs to the one who wins. Lu Renkuang didn't care. I don't use a stick. You two can fight for it. Zhang Xuanyu said indifferently, no way. I've seen it. There must be another way to win. Han Fei stepped forward, not caring if there was another way. It was normal for men to compete with each other in strength. Since everyone else has pulled it out, it would be rude if I didn't. Han Fei gathered spiritual energy between his hands and rose. When Han Fei exerted his strength, the seawater around him surged, and the veins on his hands and neck bulged. After a while, there was no movement. Zhang Xuanyu said telepathically, "That's enough. This stick can't be pulled out." Fuck, everybody was shocked to see that the stick seemed to be lifted a little. Xia Shaochan said leisurely, "So, you are not as strong as Han Fei." Han Fei thought of something and roared, "Attach." Then, the 7 chains behind him clasped the stone stick tightly. Rumble, the seawater was surging, the ground was shaking, and the walls were shaking slightly. Seeing that the stick was pulled out more, Han Fei roared again, "Rampage." Rumble, a loud noise came from under his feet, and the ground trembled violently. Han Fei, however, staggered with the stick in his hand, his face flushed. Luo Xiaobai said, "Han Fei, get out of there." Bam, Han Fei fell to the ground, and his hands were barely able to move. Han Fei held his breath and said, "I want to leave too. But this stick is too heavy." Han Fei was shocked. In his full state, all kinds of strength were superimposed. In terms of strength, he was confident that he was stronger than regular dangling fishers. He had the enhancement of the indestructible body. But now, he couldn't even lift a stick. Holding the stick, Han Fei said, "Is this the golden cudgel?" There was no telling if it was intentional or not, but the mound under Han Fei's feet broke apart. Han Fei fell down together with the stick. Han Fei, shocked, everybody hurried to go forward, but the vines that Luo Xiaobai tied Han Fei earlier were torn apart. The rumbling continued, and the ground was cracking and shaking. Everybody was pushed back by an invisible force the moment they approached Han Fei. But before they charged forward again, they saw that the mound was broken, and an enormous stele slowly rose from the ground. Then, cracks appeared under everybody's feet one after another, and the ground within 100 meters was almost completely shattered. Lu Rinquang swallowed hard. "I feel something's down there." Xia Shaochan said angrily, "Of course. Do I need you to feel anything? Even the turtle shell is coming out." Everybody was shocked. Was it a turtle down there? But wasn't the turtle too huge? Only a small part of the turtle's shell was exposed, and it was already more than 30 meters in radius. Han Fei, suddenly, Zhang Xuanyu waved his hand in surprise. Everybody saw that Han Fei was sitting on the turtle's shell next to the stele, holding the stick and blushing. Han Fei said telepathically, "I'm fine. I'm fine. Don't come any closer." Although Han Fei said that he was fine, he was actually quite panicked. The data in his eyes almost made him pee his pants. Rock-holding turtle. Natural spiritual turtles carry mysterious steles that are as heavy as mountains and engraved with patterns that cannot be seen by the naked eye. Chapter 207. When the rock-holding turtle completely broke out of the soil, not just Han Fei, but everyone else panicked. If the water arrow tortoise and the stone spirit tortoise were considered big fellows, then this rock-holding tortoise was a supergiant tortoise. The tortoise shell was nearly 100 meters long. "Human, did you let me out?" The rock-holding turtle spoke. It wasn't just a voice transmission, but a voice. Although it spoke in the water, everyone could hear it clearly. "Gudu." Han Fei swallowed and said, "Hey. Senior rock-holding turtle, how are you?" Han Fei really wanted to chop those people who spread false rumors. Didn't they say that someone had seen the rock-holding turtle? Didn't they say that someone had obtained an opportunity from the rock-holding turtle? Didn't they say, they were all liars? Except for a brief introduction, all the information was filled with question marks. Han Fei hadn't seen many of them yet. Except for the first time when he entered the water and saw the sea flood dragon. At that time, the sea flood dragon was more than 10 levels higher than him. He could at least tell the level and quality of the sea flood dragon. But this one couldn't see anything except for the introduction. More importantly, even the demon purification pot couldn't absorb the spiritual energy of this turtle, which showed how terrifying it was. Needless to say, this rock-holding turtle was at least level 50, and couldn't be lower. Luo Xiaobai and the others were shocked to hear Han Fei's name. So this was a rock-holding turtle. But it didn't match the rumors. Zhang Xuanyu secretly said to Lu Renquang, "Your second contractual spiritual beast has appeared." Lu Renquang. Hardly had Zhang Xuanyu finished the voice transmission when the rock-holding turtle turned around and glanced at him, which made Zhang Xuanyu panic. The rock-holding turtle opened its mouth. "He can't make a contract with me. The moment he makes the contract, he will explode and die." Zhang Xuanyu was shocked. What the hell? Could it even hear a voice transmission? What kind of rock-holding turtle was this? Those damn liars had seen a rock-holding turtle before. What the fuck? Zhang Xuanyu said weakly, "Say. Senior. I was just kidding." Han Fei was still sitting on the rock-holding turtle with the rod in his arms, stunned. The rock-holding turtle said, "I don't like that stick. It has suppressed me for too long." Han Fei raised his eyebrows and immediately threw the rod into Forge the Universe. But the moment he threw it, he felt incomparably obscure. At that moment, tens of thousands of points of spiritual energy were consumed. Han Fei smiled bitterly. "If you don't like it, you should have told me earlier. If you had told me earlier, I would have put it away long ago. I don't know where this rod came from. If only it was the Jingu Bang. One for Monkey, one for me." Monkey King is called the Great Sage equaling heaven, and I am called the Great Sage who overturns the seas. Seeing that the stick was gone, the rock-holding turtle stomped on the ground and opened its mouth, shattering the stone wall in front of it in an instant. Zhang Xuanyu swore to himself, "In the future, I'll definitely kill that guy who spread rumors. People will die, you know." When the rock-holding turtle crawled out of the pit, the earth shook and the mountains shook. Monstrous waves were set off in the sea above the entire stone forest mystery land. On the surface of the sea, within a radius of several thousand li, it was covered in clouds and rain. At the same time, a beam of light shot into the sky. Then, it burst into the shape of a word. Everyone wanted to see it, but as soon as they saw it, they burst into tears. The light was so dazzling that ordinary people couldn't look at it directly. Many people in the level 2 fisheries saw it and were very excited. Someone roared, "An amazing treasure has been born. Come on, come on. Opportunity, it's an opportunity." Some people who were fishing directly put away their fishing poles and drove their fishing boats forward at full speed. For a moment, the entire level 2 fishery went crazy. The dazzling light was seen by countless people and they were all rushing to hunt for treasures. Under the water, Wenren Yu felt the unusual movement. She had been wandering here for a long time. The continuous tremors made her heart a little unbearable. If these 5 treasures died, the Thug Academy would really have no hope at all. At the moment when the rock-holding turtle was born, the water was enveloped in an extraordinary splendor. Wenren Yu appeared right above Han Fei and the others almost instantly. For some reason, the scene under the seal that she couldn't see clearly before was now transparent. Wenren Yu saw Han Fei sitting on a huge turtle, and Luo Xiaobai and the others were all looking at him stupidly. Wenren Yu said, "Han Fei," she shouted and attacked the seal with thousands of sword grasses around her. Wenren Yu was shocked. Carrying a steel. Is this the legendary rock-holding turtle? The rock-holding turtle slightly raised its head. "You can't come in. Wait for me for a moment." Wenren Yu raised her eyebrows. "It can talk. It's of a very high quality." In the next moment, the sword grasses were blocked by the seal, but the ripples became more intense, but they still couldn't be broken. Wenren Yu said, "Senior Rock, please don't hurt my disciples." The rock-holding turtle didn't respond. In fact, Wenren Yu's voice couldn't penetrate the seal. At this moment, the rock-holding turtle looked at Han Fei and the others and sighed. "I don't know whether it's fate or not, but since you released me, come on my back. You can leave after an hour of viewing the steel." Hearing this, everyone was shocked. They had already seen the big steel behind the rock-holding turtle. Han Fei was sitting in front of the stele and seemed to be fascinated. The other four looked at each other, and without saying a word, they immediately stepped forward. Not to mention whether or not the rock-holding turtle could kill them, even if it wanted to, it could kill them with a breath. Didn't they see that the 1,000-meter-tall stone wall was blown to pieces by the rock-holding turtle? Han Fei was reading the stele at this moment, but because of the demon purification pot's reminder, he couldn't see it with the naked eye and had to read it with his mind. So, at the beginning, he just glanced at it and found nothing on it. Then, he just stared at the center of the stele without looking at it with his eyes. As he stared, the stele in his eyes turned into a black brick. It was like staring at a white wall for a long time, and everything else nearby would be hidden, leaving nothing but whiteness. Han Fei vaguely sensed something different. He seemed to see something moving on the stele, but it was very fuzzy. The more he concentrated, the more fuzzy the stele became. After a long time, the fuzzy picture in Han Fei's eyes suddenly became clearer. And Han Fei didn't seem to be on the back of the rock-holding turtle anymore, but in a chaotic ocean. He saw an extremely terrifying scene. There were waves hundreds of thousands of meters high, and there seemed to be only one terrifying wave left between the sky and the earth. There seemed to be a figure on the huge wave, but Han Fei couldn't see it clearly. In the overlapping waves, it was very fuzzy. Han Fei wasn't even sure if it was a person. But in the sky, he saw a person. This person was tens of thousands of meters high, reaching out and stabbing a stick straight down, as if he was going to stab into the wave. Han Fei saw that as the stick left his hand, it fell like a meteorite, rubbing against the atmosphere and causing dazzling sparks. A huge and intimidating air wave was ignited in the void. At the moment when the stick touched the seawater, Han Fei's breathing became rapid, his mind was shaking, and it became difficult for him to breathe. The huge wave was hit by the stick, leaving a huge semicircular pit. Turbulence surged in the pit. At this moment, even the air between heaven and earth seemed to be trembling. Han Fei's head was tingling, and he had a splitting headache. It was also at this moment that Han Fei's eyes changed. One black and one white, they seemed to be resisting this boundless pressure. At this moment, Han Fei woke up with a start. Even in the water, he still felt sweaty. Han Fei was instantly woken up, and there was a bloodthirsty impulse in his eyes. He didn't know when he had fused with Little Black and Little White. If there were any enemies around him at this moment, he would have killed them. But at this moment, Han Fei's eyes fell on the giant stele. In his yin-yang divine eyes, there seemed to be patterns on the giant stele. Upon a closer look, it turned out to be a strange painting. Han Fei didn't know what the painting was about, but this picture was deeply engraved in his mind. Huh? Yin-yang divine eyes? The rock-holding turtle was slightly surprised. At this moment, data appeared in Han Fei's eyes. God-scaring painting, venerable level, divine quality, note, a painting that nurtures life. Daily visualization can consolidate the soul. Disadvantages, none deduced art, unknown deduction cost, 100000000 cell phone site. Chapter 208. Xia Shaochan and the others felt a tremor in their bodies, and then they woke up with a start. They were all at a loss and shocked. Han Fei even saw shock on their faces. He wondered if they had seen the terrifying attack on the stele too. It was too strong. For the first time, Han Fei felt that there was such a terrifying existence in this world. The rock-holding turtle said solemnly, "Leave now. This place will collapse in case you get hurt." Han Fei and the others got off the back of the rock-holding turtle, and the seawater began to shake again. Spiritual energy was gathering, and a certain tide seemed to be rising underwater, pushing Han Fei and the others out. Cracks appeared on the stone walls as if they would collapse at any moment. Luo Xiaobai's face slightly changed. "It's an energy riot. Let's go." Zhang Xuanyu was dumbfounded. "Where should we go? This is a maze." Han Fei had already started running. Let's go to Mr. Turtle. It's too lazy to find a way out. We can use it to block the danger. Everybody looked at Han Fei. What a smart young man. Everybody ran as fast as they could. Behind them, some of the stone walls were already falling apart. The poor stone spirit crabs that were pretending to be stones were crushed. Many of them were crushed to death before they knew what happened. On the stone spirit turtle's side, when they ran to it, it seemed to have fallen asleep again. Lu Renquang was shocked. I fell asleep. Isn't this guy too careless? Han Fei was about to go forward, when Luo Xiaobai said, "Wait, spiritual energy is gathering here too." Everybody was stunned. That's right. The spiritual energy on the rock-holding turtle's side was too intense, and this side was unremarkable. At this moment, spiritual energy was also surging and gathering on the stone spirit turtle's side. A moment later, Han Fei saw sword grass branches falling above his head. He asked in surprise, "Master." The seal was fading. Although Wenren Yu couldn't come in for now, the sword grass branches had. Wenren Yu said telepathically, "Let's go. The seal here is about to be broken. I'm afraid it's dangerous." When Wenren Yu spoke, the stones on the stone spirit turtle were falling apart, and its body was covered in a layer of spiritual energy. Zhang Xuanyu exclaimed, "Is it making a breakthrough?" Bam! 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 The stone wall behind him had already begun to shatter on a large scale. Some had even directly exploded, and the spiritual qi was violently surging. From above, Wenren Yu said, "Find a place to hide." "Who cares? Hurry up and hide under Mr. Turtle's shell." Just after everyone hid, the spiritual energy completely rioted. Han Fei, on the other hand, clasped his hands under the stone spirit turtle's shell, and the demon purification pot on his wrist was flickering, crazily absorbing the turbulent spiritual energy that came out of nowhere. Not long after, an astonishing wave of water swept over. The water was completely turbid. Rocks were flying everywhere, and all kinds of bubbles, mud, bones, and pieces of the stone spirit crab were surging. Everyone held onto the stone spirit turtle tightly. Even so, the stone spirit turtle, as big as it was still slowly moving and sliding to the side. Boom! With an explosion, the 5 of them vomited blood almost at the same time. The sound was so loud that it almost deafened them. "Sigh, what's wrong now? Why am I awake again?" "Mr. Turtle, the seal has been broken. You hold on and block for us." The stone spirit turtle said unhurriedly, "Oh, have you pulled out the rod?" Han Fei and the others were speechless. "Master, why do you still care about the rod at this time?" "Huh? How did I make a breakthrough?" The stone spirit turtle was a little stunned, but Han Fei and the others were even more stunned. "Don't you know how you made the breakthrough? Don't you know how much spiritual energy has been poured into your stomach?" Zhang Xuanyu said to Han Fei via voice transmission, "Han Fei, cut the crap. Absorb quickly. The spiritual energy is in a frenzy. It's a good time for us to cultivate." Han Fei was stunned. "You still have time to cultivate in this situation?" Zhang Xuanyu nodded. "Absorb as much as I can. I feel that this moment is comparable to months of hard cultivation." Luo Xiaobai scolded, "Shut up and focus on absorbing spiritual energy and polishing your body." Han Fei thought to himself, "I have nothing to polish. If I want to temper my body, I'll probably be struck by lightning. I'd better absorb spiritual energy." About a quarter of an hour later, the surging spiritual energy gradually disappeared. When they opened their eyes again, there were no stone walls. They were all razed to the ground. The stone forest had completely become a pile of rocks. Xia Shaochan pointed to the distance and said, "Look, is that a rock-holding turtle?" Everyone looked at it, only to see a golden spot. Because it was a little far away, they couldn't see it clearly, but it seemed a bit similar. In front of the golden light, a huge vortex appeared. Before they could observe it carefully, the rock-holding turtle seemed to have drilled into the vortex, and then nothing happened. The entire stone forest almost fell silent in an instant. Everyone looked at each other in bewilderment. What happened? They wandered in the maze for a long time, only to accidentally destroy the entire stone forest. At this moment, the stone spirit turtle said in a daze, "My home is gone." Han Fei sweated. "Mr. Turtle, I'll take you to find a new home." While Han Fei was talking, a figure appeared in front of them. Wenren Yu exclaimed in surprise when she saw the stone spirit turtle. However, seeing that the 5 of them were all dragging the big turtle, it must be a docile creature. The stone spirit turtle asked, "Another human being?" Wenren Yu asked, "What happened? What did you do?" Han Fei shrugged. "Ha! Well, teacher, we didn't do anything. We just promised to find a new home for Mr. Turtle in the 1,000 Miles Coral Forest." Wenren Yu really wanted to beat them up. Is this how you find a home? He had wanted to grind their spirit, but now, in less than a day, they had destroyed the treacherous stone forest. More importantly, it was the first time that Wenren Yu had seen a rock-holding turtle. She was amazed by the power of this turtle. She didn't know what Han Fei and the others had done to summon such a legendary creature. Wenren Yu said, "Now is not the time to talk. The sea is already rioting. The waves are 1,000 meters high. I've put away the fishing boat for you. Since you're going to the 1,000 Miles Coral Forest, walk underwater." The stone spirit turtle flicked its tail at Han Fei. "Can you carry me on your back?" "Pooh!" Han Fei was dumbfounded. "Sir, are you kidding me? How big are you? How big am I? Carry you on my back? Just how lazy are you?" Wenren Yu's mouth was also twitching. The others looked at Han Fei sympathetically. "Why did you hook up with this turtle? Now you can carry it yourself. Nobody will help you." Han Fei said, "Sir, I'm just going to swim for a while. But I can't carry you on my back." The stone spirit turtle nodded. "You can." Han Fei shook his head. "I can't." As they talked, they suddenly saw the water arrow turtle swim past 1,000 meters away. When the turtle swam away, it glanced at them and then sped up. Han Fei said, "Sir, she's the girlfriend I found for you. Go chase her, everyone." The stone spirit turtle. The stone spirit turtle was tempted, but it was too lazy. The water arrow turtle swam away in the blink of an eye. It was too lazy to chase it. In the end, under Han Fei's trick, it swam unhurriedly to the 1,000 Miles Coral Forest. On the way, Wenren Yu asked, "Where did you find this turtle? Why is it so lazy?" Everybody looked at Han Fei. Han Fei smiled awkwardly. "We can only come out thanks to Mr. Turtle. It's not a big problem to find a nest for Mr. Turtle." Wenren Yu asked, "Is this a stone spirit turtle?" "A level 40 stone spirit turtle." "Forget it. Whatever. Let's go back to the town after we go up." Immediately, they were unhappy. Han Fei said anxiously, "Teacher, we're going to the deep sea jungle." Zhang Xuanyu echoed, "Yes, teacher, let's find a second contractual spiritual beast for Xiaobai." Lu Renquang didn't care. "I think it's good to go back." Xia Shaochan glared at him. "Shut up." Luo Xiaobai suggested, "Why don't you go with us, teacher?" Wenren Yu said, "Shut up, all of you. You've only been here for a few days. You've been making trouble for me. Did I ask you to come down to hunt for treasures?" Lu Renquang, Luo Xiaobai, you haven't even learned spiritual perception yet, and you're here to hunt for treasures with them? They are talented, but you don't. Don't go back. Some of you can, but some of you can't. Is it embarrassing? Luo Xiaobai blushed. For the first time in her life, she felt that she was left behind in cultivation. Luo Xiaobai said solemnly, "Teacher, I I won't go into the sea until I master spiritual perception this time. Wenren Yu asked, little fatty, what about you? Lu Renquang looked around and said sullenly, then, so will I, cell phone sight. Chapter 209. Han Fei did find a place for the stone spirit turtle to sleep in a coral cave. He had planned to trick the stone spirit turtle into staying at the gate of the fire cloud cave. After all, it was a place where few people could reach even in thousands of years. However, the stone spirit turtle stopped swimming and sank when it heard that it was tens of thousands of kilometers away. In the end, after much persuasion, Han Fei tricked this guy to the coral reefs. The coral cave. Han Fei asked, Master Turtle, are you sure you don't want to think about it? It's only 10,000 kilometers. If a strong master comes to this coral bush and you are caught, it's not a good thing to be their contractual spiritual beast. The stone spirit turtle lay on the ground and a suction force appeared on its body. Pieces of coral, rocks, and seaweed fell on it. After a while, the stone spirit turtle turned into a large pile of coral. The stone spirit turtle said, Human, go. I'm going to sleep. Han Fei was speechless. What a heartless girl. She took my kindness for granted. We've been through thick and thin together. Why did it suddenly abandon me? Zhang Xuanyu patted Han Fei's shoulder. Fei, let's go. Let it sleep. It probably won't remember you when it wakes up. Xia Shaochan sighed. If only most of the creatures in the sea were as lazy as this turtle. Then we could catch them at will. Wenren Yu was speechless at the thoughts of these people. Dream on. The sea is a place where the strong prey on the weak. The stone spirit turtle is just a special case. They returned to the surface of the sea. However, at this moment, the sea was raging and the waves were surging. Even so, Han Fei and the others saw a lot of fishing boats. These fishing boats were setting off for the stone forest. Lu Renquang sighed. How stupid. I wonder how they would feel if they knew that we met a rock-holding turtle. Speaking of the rock-holding turtle, when Renyu suddenly asked, what did you see on the stone tablet? The rock-holding turtle said that it gave you an opportunity. Did you get it? Luo Xiaobai was excited. I saw a towering tree in the middle of the sea, hundreds of thousands of meters high, with branches and leaves covering hundreds of thousands of kilometers. Huh? Everyone was stunned. Was there such a big tree? Han Fei raised his eyebrows. Different? He clearly saw someone use a stick to pierce through the raging waves, but Little White saw a tree. Xia Shaochan said, I saw a fish, 10,000 meters long, swimming among the clouds. It was very lonely. Wenren Yu raised her eyebrows. Is this the so-called opportunity? She naturally believed what Luo Xiaobai and Xia Shaochan said. However, it was too exaggerated for them to describe it. How could there be a tree that could reach tens of thousands of feet into the sky? How could there be a fish that was tens of thousands of feet long? Lu Renquang looked at them in shock. Is it really that amazing? But what I saw was a saber technique. I can't describe it. It's just a knife. It floated in front of me and then disappeared. Zhang Xuanyu looked at everyone blankly. I didn't see those things. I felt like I had entered a sea and was being battered by the waves again and again. I almost had a mental breakdown. Lu Renquang snorted. Then you're really miserable. At least the knives I see won't stab me. Everybody looked at Han Fei, and Han Fei scratched his head. I saw a man holding a stick and piercing through the waves. Han Fei felt that that picture couldn't be described in words. Was it really as simple as piercing through the waves with a stick? That stick penetrated the sky and the earth and even the sea caved in. That kind of feeling was really mysterious and indescribable. Of course, Han Fei didn't intend to tell them about the god-scaring painting. After all, the rock-holding turtle had always been a legend. Then this painting must have never appeared in the world. Wenren Yu was dumbfounded. Was it really as exaggerated as they made it out to be? A tree tens of thousands of feet tall, a fish tens of thousands of feet tall, and finally a man who pierced through the waves with a stick? Is this bullshit? Wenren Yu said solemnly, no matter what opportunities you got from the rock-holding turtle, don't tell others. You should understand the saying, an innocent man will get into trouble because of his wealth. Luo Xiaobai nodded. Got it, teacher. Wenren Yu said, when the rock-holding turtle appeared, spiritual energy gathered. Many people thought that there was a rare treasure there. You just stay here. When Xiaobai and Lu Rinquang learn spiritual perception, the experience will end. Everybody agreed. Wenren Yu left. She hated teaching students, especially those who liked to make trouble. After Wenren Yu left, they all stared at each other. Lu Rinquang said, well, do you want to practice? Let's exchange our experiences. Go away. It's stormy here. 3 days later. Countless treasure hunters returned empty-handed, but not everyone returned empty-handed. Some bold ones dived to the bottom of the sea only to find that the stone forest was gone. As soon as the news came out, everyone was shocked. Their first reaction was not to publicize it, but to search for treasures in the ruins of the stone forest. As a result, some people caught some stone spirit crabs, some pried some stones, and some found some broken weapons from the ruins. Anyway, no matter how broken they were taken out from the ruins of the stone forest. If they sold them, they might be able to make some money. Perhaps the disappearance of the stone forest was leaked, and various versions of rumors began to spread. Therefore, most of the great fishing masters of the entire Blue Sea town were dispatched, hundreds of thousands of people. As a result, the level 2 fishery instantly became lively. At this moment, Han Fei and the others were sitting on the deck and eating hot pot. Luo Xiaobai said, I seem to have some ideas, but I may need to use my vines. I used the hook as if it were my vines. Then, I seem to feel the space between the fish hooks. But it's still a bit vague. Xia Shaochan wondered, can't you control the seaweed? That's also vision. Luo Xiaobai shook her head. This is different. I can control 100 meters or 1,000 meters, but not 100 or 1,000 kilometers, so it's just speculation. Han Fei suggested, then can you separate your vines? For example, if there is a vine hanging on the fishing hook, can you feel it? Luo Xiaobai shook her head again. I can, but I can't. No, I have to go back to fishing. Luo Xiaobai was eager to learn spiritual perception. Lu Rinquang, however, mumbled with his mouth full of grease, I also saw a little vague. But I didn't practice it. When I was fishing, I was thinking about the knife I saw in the giant monument, and then I saw it. Huh? Everyone looked at Lu Rinquang. They had always felt that the picture they saw was useless. Maybe there really was such a magical life in the infinite ocean. But it was too far away from them. They just happened to see it. Lu Rinquang swallowed a piece of squid meat and said, I always thought about the knife, and then I felt that it was very easy to control the fishing rod. Sometimes, I feel that throwing the hook is like throwing that knife. Why don't you try throwing a tree? Zhang Xuanyu was speechless. What you saw was a knife, but what Xiaobai saw was a towering tree. Can you throw that thing away? Han Fei pulled Zhang Xuanyu. Hey, hey! You can't throw it away, but you can think about it. Didn't you hear Lu Rinquang say that you can see it when you think about it? Luo Xiaobai's eyes lit up. By the way, was the scene on the giant monument really meaningless? Not necessarily. If it was meaningless, then what kind of opportunity was it? In fact, not only Lu Rinquang, but also Han Fei was thinking about it. On this day, he was not in the mood to fish. He was thinking about the shocking blow and the god-scaring painting. Just thinking about it often made him feel refreshed. At this moment, Han Fei saw 6 fishing boats in the sky, pulling a big turtle flying by. The squid meat in Lu Rinquang's mouth fell out and he said stupidly, isn't that Master Turtle. Zhang Xuanyu's eyes widened. Really? Has Master Turtle been found? Xia Shaochan said anxiously, that's too much. Master Turtle just wants to take a nap, but these people don't even let go of an old turtle. Han Fei said angrily, damn it, we can't let them take it away. If they take it away, Master Turtle will be dead. Take off, chase. Cell phone website. Chapter 210. The 5 of them, including Luo Xiaobai, were furious. The stone spirit turtle was the cutest turtle they had ever seen, and it had helped them. They couldn't allow it to be captured as a contractual spiritual beast. In the sky, a group of people was shouting. Someone laughed. We're rich. A stone spirit turtle that has broken through the bottleneck of level 40. If we sell it, we'll have enough food for the rest of our lives. Someone sighed. Fortunately, it hasn't woken up yet. Otherwise, we might not have been able to catch it. Someone said disdainfully, there are more than a dozen of us. Why should we be afraid of a stone spirit turtle? Stop. Guys in the sky, let go of the turtle. Han Fei stood on the deck, furious. Huh? Is there a fishing boat chasing us? Ha! Are these kids tired of living? How dare they chase us? Don't be careless. A kid who can come to the level 2 fishery is probably not simple. Who cares? Who knows if he's dead? Old Yang, go with him. Our 5 fishing boats can hold him. The stone spirit turtle was very heavy. When one fishing boat broke away, the other 5 fishing boats suddenly sank. However, they still managed to hold the weight of the stone spirit turtle. Where did this kid come from? Are you tired of living? Just at the moment when the other fishing boat approached, vines danced in the air and directly pulled the other fishing boat. Lu Renquang patted his armor box and drew out his knives and swords. Xia Shaochan flickered and appeared on the other party's fishing boat. Damn, the 3 people on the other fishing boat were shocked. What kind of weird ability was this? Xia Shaochan was ruthless, which everyone knew. But these people didn't know it. One of the middle-aged men raised his knife to block, but in an instant, Xia Shaochan went around to his side, cut his spiritual energy protective cover, and then stabbed deeply into his abdomen. This man didn't even have time to fuse with his spiritual beast before he was crippled. The other 2 were dumbfounded. So powerful. However, before they had time to react, the torrents of knives and swords arrived. With the double attack of Xia Shaochan, the other party only had time to shout, fuse, and then his spiritual energy protective cover was shattered by the sword and saber, and he was instantly covered with wounds. His spiritual beast didn't play any role at all. Their fishing boats crashed, and Xia Shaochan flashed back to the fishing boat. Lu Renquang retreated. The battle had ended in less than 3 breaths of time. Above, those people were dumbfounded. Someone snapped out of his panic. Who are you? We're from the Black River Chamber of Commerce in the Blue Sea Town. Luo Xiaobai said indifferently, there are 3 chambers of commerce in the Blue Sea Town, the Linglong Tower, the Colorful Clothes Chamber of Commerce, and the Black River Chamber of Commerce. These people are great fishing masters recruited by the chambers of commerce to seize resources from the sea for these chambers of commerce. Zhang Xuanyu said disdainfully, who cares what chamber of commerce they are? They can't take me away. Han Fei shouted at them, release the stone spirit turtle, and I'll spare your lives. The faces of the people on the other side were extremely ugly. These youngsters were too strong. They were guessing which academy the prodigy was from. However, regardless of which academy he was from, this was a stone spirit tortoise. Its value was immeasurable. How could they give it up so easily? Seeing that Han Fei and the others had already caught up, the faces of the people of the Black River Chamber of Commerce changed drastically. The other side shouted, don't make a mistake. We found this stone spirit turtle first. If you rob us, you'll rob the Black River Chamber of Commerce. Han Fei raised his finger. I'll give you 2 seconds to think about it. Let it go or not. The other side looked pale and hesitated. Suddenly, only one person stayed on the other fishing boats to control the fishing boat, and the others all jumped onto one boat. They decided to fight, so they couldn't let go of the stone spirit turtle. Fuse. For a time, all kinds of phantoms appeared. Bony spur fish, ironhead fish, mysterious armored tortoise, lightning crab. A total of 12 people fused with their spiritual beasts. Someone on the other side sneered. Boy, how dare you challenge us with just 5 people? Since you've ruined our plan today, you don't have to go back. Han Fei glanced at Xia Shaochan. Shall we fight? Xia Shaochan flashed instantly, and the great fishing masters on the other fishing boats looked around. However, they didn't find anyone. But in the next moment, they only heard a crack, and the iron chain holding the stone spirit turtle broke. The other 4 fishing boats struggled to hold on and were on the verge of collapsing. Crack, another chain broke. Standing on the turtle shell, Xia Shaochan disappeared again and appeared on a fishing boat with only one person on it. Ah, the person who controlled the fishing boat was stabbed in the abdomen and fell straight into the sea. And the other 3 fishing boats finally couldn't hold the stone spirit turtle and began to fall together with the turtle. Han Fei shouted, Zhang Xuanyu, crash, okay. I haven't fought with anyone for a long time. Hey. In the eyes of these great fishing masters, Han Fei and the others were crazy. If they fell into the sea from such a high height, even great fishing masters would be injured. If they were besieged by the fish of the level 2 fishery, they would be seriously injured. Stop, stop, the other side shouted repeatedly, but Han Fei didn't mean to stop at all. He immediately shouted again, fight. Swish, 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 fishing hooks fell on Han Fei's fishing boat one after another, and the blue sea wandering dragon spun around and cut all the fishing lines. Han Fei stepped on the bow of the boat and said arrogantly, don't play fancy tricks. It's useless. Now we're robbing this stone spirit turtle. When the 2 fishing boats were only dozens of meters away from each other, both sides launched attacks. Han Fei had just shot out 7 chains, Lu Renkuang had just put down his armor box, and Luo Xiaobai's vines were about to be launched, when the other party's fishing boat shook. Xia Shaochan had already boarded the boat, stabbed the pilot on the boat, and then destroyed the other party's fishing boat with a heavy stab. Before Han Fei and the others attacked, these people fell straight into the sea. Someone wanted to jump onto Han Fei's fishing boat, but was blocked by Han Fei with a knife. Xia Shaochan casually appeared behind them. Are you stupid? Do you have to fight a dozen people head-on? Why don't you just let them fall? Everyone. Lu Renkuang muttered, isn't this a bit too insidious? Zhang Xuanyu was speechless. Haven't you found that Xia Shaochan is more terrifying than a dozen great fishing masters? Xia Shaochan turned her head and stared at Zhang Xuanyu. What did you say? No, nothing. I said that you are cute. I have never seen a girl as beautiful and powerful as you. Han Fei slapped his thigh. Yes. When did I become so fond of fighting? This is not a good habit. I have to change it. Han Fei still remembered that he wanted to develop his skills in hidden weapons a little while ago. However, after being taught a lesson by Jiang Qin, he almost forgot about it. Xia Shaochan's method was the right way to win without bloodshed. Zhang Xuanyu controlled the fishing boat to chase down and quickly caught up with the 3 teetering fishing boats. Han Fei shouted at the 3 people on the boat, hurry up and land. Do you need my help? The faces of the operators on the 3 fishing boats turned green. Just now they saw a dozen people fall from the sky with their own eyes. Fortunately, this place was not high, and they were all great fishing masters, so they wouldn't fall to their deaths. But these were a dozen great fishing masters. Couldn't they beat a few kids? The 3 people were angry but dared not say anything. In the blink of an eye, they became the weaker party. What could they do? Of course, land quickly and run away. Han Fei and the others were not in a hurry. At this moment, Han Fei was knocking the turtle shell with a blue sea wandering dragon dagger. Clang, 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 like knocking a bell, Han Fei knocked it for a full 2 minutes before he finally woke it up. Who is it? I'm going to sleep. The great fishing masters on the 3 fishing boats were all stunned. What did this mean? How could this turtle talk? Lu Renquang smacked his lips. I'm afraid Mr. Turtle doesn't even know that he has been flying in the sky. Han Fei complained helplessly, Mr. Turtle, you were almost taken away. Look at where you are now. The stone spirit turtle poked its head out and was anxious. Where's the water? Where's the coral? Han Fei sweated. Mr. Turtle, you almost became someone's contractual spiritual beast, do you know that? Cell phone website. Chapter 211. Han Fei suspected that if it weren't for the seal of the stone forest, this stone spirit turtle would have become someone else's contractual spiritual beast. At this moment, when it found itself hanging in the air, it was only slightly surprised and even asked feebly, Can I sleep if I become someone else's contractual spiritual beast? Han Fei said gloomily, Of course not. They'll drag you out to fight every few days. Are you scared? The stone spirit turtle shrugged. Then forget it. I'd better not become someone else's spiritual beast. Xia Shaochang couldn't bear it anymore. Big Turtle, you're so stupid. If you're caught, you won't be able to sleep anymore. So, you should listen to Han Fei and find a hidden place to sleep. The stone spirit turtle felt wronged. Where can I hide? It's all because of him that I slept so well. Han Fei pointed at himself with his mouth open. So, I'm the bad guy now. Han Fei said gloomily, Mr. Turtle, be reasonable. You see, I saved you this time. You won't be so lucky when we leave in a few days. Bam, at this moment, several fishing boats fell into the sea together. When there was water, the stone spirit turtle shook its body and overturned a fishing boat, probably because it exerted too much strength. The other 2 fishing boats didn't overturn, but they drew a semicircle on the sea. The 2 people on the boat had no time to care about anything else. They cut off the chains and ran away immediately. They were great fishing masters, but the stone spirit turtle was above level 40 after all. They couldn't do anything to it. As for the boat that fell from the sky, it was more than half damaged. There were a dozen people on it, but some of them fell into the water and didn't come back up. At this moment, this group of people was controlling the broken boat and rushing at Han Fei and the others. Little fishes, you will all stay here today. Han Fei said, Mr. Turtle, look, these are the people who caught you. If I were you, I would have already lost my temper and knocked them over. However, the stone spirit turtle said lazily, I'm tired. I don't want to move. Han Fei was speechless. You coward. I saved you for nothing. I can't even count on you to fight. Luo Xiaobai sighed. Forget it. Fighting is also part of the experience. In the future, we might encounter a situation like today's. Let's give it a try first. On the other side, Zhang Xuanyu, who was originally quite quiet, raised his stick at this moment, and a huge wave of tens of meters was set off. He laughed loudly. Feifei, today, I'll show you the 7-layered waves in Furious Sea. At this moment, Zhang Xuanyu's aura was rising, and the layers of waves behind him pushed him forward. Luo Xiaobai commanded, let's all take action. With that, vines popped out of the water and easily wrapped around the other party's boat. Pay attention. Kill that manipulator first. Someone on the other side roared. At the same time, at least 4 people left the fishing boat. Someone jumped into the water, and when he jumped out again, he stabbed a spear at Luo Xiaobai. Lu Renquang patted his armor box and chuckled. The spiritual beast of a strip fish is just a dish. After that, a long saber flew out of the armor box and turned into a saber shadow that was 7 to 8 meters long. Lu Renquang said, "Watch carefully, this is my new combat skill. I'm going to call it Wild Slash." Han Fei smacked his lips. It's terrible to be uneducated. The name is so vulgar that it gives me goosebumps. As he spoke, Han Fei stepped out of the boat, stepped into the air, and 3 blue sea wandering dragon daggers burst out beside him. The purple bamboo rod had been destroyed, but the fishing rod was not. Han Fei held the rod in one hand, and the hook was thrown out like a swimming snake. 3 people attacked from the left and were blocked by Han Fei alone. One of them even tried to resist the blue sea wandering dragon daggers and approached Han Fei directly. But he was careless. At the moment when the blue sea wandering dragon daggers appeared in front of him, the armor shield and spiritual energy protective cover on the man's body were directly pierced and his chest was pierced by the daggers. Seeing this scene, the other 2 hurriedly retreated. But Han Fei's fishing rod had already arrived and hooked one person's feet. Han Fei approached him in 2 or 3 steps, moved his body in the air, and easily avoided the dozens of bone spurs shot out by the other party. Puff! Stabbing the dagger into the man's chest, Han Fei grinned grimly. A spiritual beast like the bone spur fish may be of some use to you. You don't deserve to be a hidden weapon. Then Han Fei pulled out the dagger and let the man fall into the water. As for the other person, he was already horrified. Why are these teenagers so strong? On the other side, Xia Shaochan, who had the flash skill, attacked even more easily. With a flash, she directly killed the last great fishing master. At this time, Zhang Xuanyu had just approached the fishing boat. His eyes flashed and he blasted out a soul attack. One of the people on the boat was stunned. Bim, the man was knocked flying, vomiting blood wildly. If it weren't for the 2 great fishing masters beside him, he would have died. When Zhang Xuanyu stepped on the waves again, Luo Xiaobai's vines had already woven a large vine tens of meters long. Smack! Smack! The vines were like whips, smashing down crazily. The deck of the fishing boat was broken, and the 3 of them barely stopped it. But Zhang Xuanyu's 7-layered rod in furious sea followed. That wasn't all. Xia Shaochan sneaked behind a man at some point and stabbed him with a white knife and then came out with a red knife. Han Fei, who was rushing over, happened to see this scene and broke into a cold sweat. Fortunately, he was strong. Otherwise, he wouldn't know how many times he would have been stabbed by this girl. The group of great fishing masters had never seen such a scene before. Someone shouted in shock, "Perfect combination. 7-layered waves in furious sea, they are the thug legend." As soon as this person finished shouting, Lu Renquang's torrents of knives and swords arrived. For a time, there were giant vines, swords, waves, and people stabbing each other. These people had been through a lot and tried to resist, but as soon as they came into contact with them, they were crushed in an instant. Crack! Bim! The fishing boat disintegrated. In just a few minutes, this group of more than a dozen people was directly crushed. The 2 fishing boats that escaped were planning to reinforce them. At this moment, they just ran away wildly. How could they still fight? This was the thug legend, who had a 100-game winning streak in the Blue Sea Arena and was in the top 100 of the 3 academies. Most of them were junior great fishing masters. It would be strange if they could defeat him. Luo Xiaobai shouted, "Shaochan, don't kill them." Xia Shaochan appeared, waved the dagger in her hand twice, and snorted. "I'm not interested in killing junior great fishing masters. I just want to let them know that they are not strong because they have more people." Seeing that there was no space for him to attack, Han Fei returned to the fishing boat, lay on the bow, and looked at the stone spirit turtle. "Master Turtle, let's take you to find a place to sleep. Do you want to come with us?" The stone spirit turtle asked, "Is it far?" "If it's far." Han Fei said bluntly, "Do you want to be caught and sent to heaven? At that time, you will be dragged out to fight every other day. That's much more tiring than swimming tens of thousands of miles." The stone spirit turtle seemed to think for a while, and finally said weakly, "Okay then. Human, can you take me with you?" Han Fei, everyone, in the end, Han Fei compromised. Locking it with a chain, they set off for the Fire Cloud Cave. As soon as Han Fei and the others left, the people of the Black River Chamber of Commerce immediately gathered. Everybody climbed onto the last 2 fishing boats, relieved to have survived the disaster. 6 are dead. How can we explain this to them? Someone muttered, how can we explain this to them? Just say that we encountered the thug legend. It's good enough that we can go back alive. They are not ordinary children. They are the seeds of the 4th Academy. Let the Chamber of Commerce find a solution. At the entrance of the Fire Cloud Cave. Now there were no treasures inside. Although there was an earth fire, no one had seen it. But the cave outside the door was indeed very beautiful, with small fish and shrimps, corals, and shellfish. It was colorful and very beautiful. Han Fei said, "Master Turtle, you can sleep here. You helped us once and we'll pay you back. I don't owe you anything." The stone spirit turtle directly lay on the ground. "I'm exhausted. I'm so sleepy. You can go now. I'm going to sleep." Xia Xiaochan said angrily, "You big turtle, why don't you appreciate our help? If it weren't for us, you would have become a contractual spiritual beast. Why don't you thank us?" Luo Xiaobai said. Xia Xiaochan said angrily, "Humph, that's right." The stone spirit turtle was so sleepy that it almost squinted its eyes. Maybe it felt a little embarrassed. So it shook its body and a black stone fell from the crack of its shell. "Then can I give this to you?" Xia Xiaochan was taken aback. "What is this? A piece of stone?" The stone spirit turtle shrugged. "I don't know. Who stuffed it in my shell when I was a child? Later, he didn't come to take it. This is the only thing someone gave me. I can only give this to you." Han Fei stepped forward and patted the turtle shell. "Okay, Master Turtle, go to sleep. Xiaochan is just teasing you." As he said, Han Fei went forward to pick up the stone. "Did someone give it to you?" "I don't think so." Cell phone website. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.